Chapter 1224, Rhinoceros Battle 1. If you run away, you can only force it back up. However, that rhinoceros is very cunning. It knows that it can't beat you, so I'm afraid it won't come up so easily this time, Ziyu said with understanding. Then, she threw a few large water balls into the cave. However, there was no reaction at all in the cave. It could be seen how firm the will of the giant rhinoceros was. It had made up its mind not to come up. Fuck, didn't it hate water the most? Why didn't it roll up after so much water was poured down? Fonda roared in anger. What a cunning creature. Although the rhinoceros looked stupid, he didn't expect it to be so scheming. I quite admire its patience. He's a beastie who can accomplish great things. Lung Rawashua couldn't help but tease when she saw Fong Da's flustered and exasperated look. Miss, you're still praising it? Fuck, I'll go down and pull it up myself. Fonda said in anger. After he finished speaking, he was about to jump down again. However, this time, he was pulled back by Lung Rawashua. What's the hurry? Look at how calm that giant rhinoceros is. You have to learn from it. You can't be so anxious about everything. Lung Rawashua advised. Oh, Fonda replied unwillingly, but he hated the giant rhinoceros to death in his heart. When the giant rhinoceros came up, he would beat it up so badly that even its mother wouldn't be able to recognize it. The premise was that it had to have a mother. Miss, what should we do now? That damn rhinoceros is not coming up. Fonda couldn't help but ask. Continue to fill it with water. There's not enough water now, so of course it won't come up. Lung Rawashua laughed evilly. Now that there was still space for the giant rhinoceros to live in the underground cave, it was naturally unwilling to come up and throw its life away for the sake of its safety. However, what if it can no longer stay down there? At that time, it would have no choice but to remember. Yes, under Lung Rawashua's command, everyone with the water attribute threw water balls into the cave. Not long after, the water in the cave slowly surged up. After throwing water balls for a while, the water had already overflowed the cave and flowed towards the other flat ground. It's almost time, let's stop. Lung Rawashua chuckled and asked Ziyu. Is there any other exit in this giant rhinoceros cave? No, this place is surrounded by mountains and hard rocks, so the giant rhinoceros can only come out from here, unless it would rather wait for death and come out. Ziyu said with a smile, but in his heart, he couldn't help but break out in a cold sweat. He was once again shocked by these people's big spending. Oh my God, if it was a giant rhinoceros, and the cave had been filled with so much water, it would have come out to surrender long ago. How could it still hide in the cave? When he thought of this, he was somewhat impressed by the rhinoceros' patience. However, as soon as he finished speaking, he saw a black shadow scuttle out of the hole. It was the flustered and angry black mimicked rhinoceros. The little black rhinoceros was floating in the air, staring at them with its eyes burning with fire. They stared back at it, not to be outdone. Both sides stared at each other for a long time before the little rhinoceros opened its mouth angrily and said, Despicable humans, you actually destroyed Grandpa's home. You really deserve to die. I won't let you off. With that, the little black rhinoceros suddenly grew to the size of a small mountain before it stopped growing. When Fonda and the others saw this, they couldn't help but laugh. I say, little rhino, do you think that your mimicry appearance is too small and not enough for us to beat up? So you want to make it bigger so that it's more convenient for us to attack? You're so considerate. Reading on Maibo XN O Velcom, please. It is. You're such a considerate beastie. Will definitely love you well. Everyone spoke at once, angering the giant rhinoceros that was floating in the air. Detestable. How detestable. Grandpa is so angry. I'm going to kill you all. The giant rhinoceros roared in anger. After that, it swooped down from the sky and attacked Fonda and the others. However, Fonda and the others were not in a hurry. They just casually added a layer of defense in front of them and waited for the giant rhinoceros to walk into the trap. After the giant rhinoceros landed from the sky, it swept its huge, thick tail, trying to sweep Fonda and the others away. However, it did not expect to hit nothing, which made it even more angry. Cunning humans, don't hide if you have the guts. The giant rhinoceros roared in anger. Eh, little rhinoceros, you're wrong. You're clearly only allowing the state officials to light the lamps, not allowing the commoners to set them on fire. You can use your talent to escape, but we can't hide. What kind of logic is this? Fonda retorted sarcastically with a look of disdain on his face. However, his words made the giant rhinoceros furious, and all the new and old grudges surged up. Is that the same? I only have myself, but you have so many people. If I didn't run, I would have been beaten in a meat paste by you. Fight me one-on-one if you dare. The giant rhinoceros provoked. We'll have a one-on-one just because you said so. That would be so embarrassing for me. And also, little rhinoceros, if you still call yourself grandpa, they'll beat you up until your grandpa can't recognize you. Fonda warned. You dare. If you have the ability, come and beat me up. Oomph. I'm not afraid of you. The giant rhinoceros said stubbornly, its bull-like temper rising. Hee hee. You're the one who asked us to beat you up, so don't cry. Fonda said with a smirk. Then, he gave his brothers a look, and everyone understood and attacked the giant rhinoceros. Fonda and the others divided the work and worked together, attacking from top to bottom. Fists and divine skills flew out at the same time, all of which smashed into the giant rhinoceros body, causing it to cry out in pain again. Despicable humans, you dare to gang up on me again? Ah, how detestable! The giant rhinoceros cried out in pain, but unfortunately, no one paid any attention to it, much less felt any heartache. Did we say we wouldn't gang up on you? We are one entity, and there is no distinction between us. Therefore, we will naturally share our blessings, our difficulties, and our fights. Fonda explained with a smile. Ha ha, that's right. Chungwu also laughed out loud. The divine skill in his hand smashed towards the giant rhinoceros as if he didn't care about his life. As he smashed, he didn't forget to stuff medicinal pills into his mouth to replenish the divine power he had used up. It couldn't be helped. This giant rhinoceros skin was too thick. They had to fight a long battle. The master of the Ning family and the great elder, who were watching the battle from the side, could not help but feel embarrassed when they saw Fonda and the others' shameless fighting style. They thought to themselves, a fight can actually be fought like this, Sai. Why are these little rascals so wasteful? They had lived for so long, but they had never seen anyone force medicinal pills into their mouths while fighting. What a prodigal. Chapter 1225, Rhinoceros Battle 2. When other people were fighting, it was not bad to be able to eat a medicinal pill to replenish their divine power. But they threw large amounts into their mouths. It really made people envious, jealous, and hateful. And those who had similar thoughts as them naturally included Ziyu, who had opened his eyes. He had lived for so long, but he had never seen anyone eat medicinal pills in this way. Could it be that medicinal pills in the immortal realm were not worth much now? Actually, this was mainly because he had not been with Lung Ruoxue and the rest for long. Hence, he naturally did not know that Lung Ruoxue's subordinates and the beasts would eat pills for fun when they had nothing to do, because they tasted pretty good. As for Lu Feng, Mo Yin, and the others, they were much calmer, because in their eyes, whatever these people did was normal. Even if other people thought that it was incredible, it was normal for them to do it. When Bing Yao saw this, he praised Fonda and the others, and he couldn't help but cheer for them. Hee, come on, boys, don't embarrass your miss and me. Beat this little rhinoceros to the ground, woo. The rhinoceros skin is quite good for making armor. Despicable humans, you actually want to use Grandpa's skin to make armor. Grandpa is really angry. I'm angry. When the giant rhinoceros heard Bing Yao's words, it couldn't care less about the pain and couldn't help but roar. You're angry? So you weren't angry before? Bing Yao said in realization. Little rhinoceros, show me your anger. I've never seen an angry rhinoceros before. Bing Yao urged. After that, he took out a piece of red cloth from somewhere and spread it in front of him. Come quickly. I have your favorite red color. Come on. Come quickly. Bing Yao continued to urge him and got into position, ready for the bullfight. When Lung Roashua saw her senior brother's actions, beads of sweat started to fall from her forehead. She thought to herself, could it be that senior brother has been to my previous world? Otherwise, how would he know to use red cloth to fight bulls? However, not all bulls like to be beaten, right? Moreover, she had never heard of anyone using a red cloth to fight a rhinoceros. That was a rhinoceros, okay? Hee hee. Bing Yao is quite funny. The demon at the side couldn't help but laugh when he saw this. Yup. Lung Roashua wiped away the cold sweat on her forehead and said helplessly. This was not the first time she had seen her senior brother's antics. Just as Lung Roashua finished her sentence, the furious giant rhinoceros only said 2 words, detestable. He found a chance to pass Fonda and the others and pounced on Bing Yao. However, it naturally ended up pouncing on nothing. Bing Yao turned around elegantly, then shook the red flag in his hand at the giant rhinoceros. Little rhinoceros, come on. I have faith in you. Reading on MyBoXN Ovelcom, please. Detestable. The giant rhinoceros nostrils were exhaling white air as it continuously kicked the ground with its huge hooves. Then a whoosh. Sound was heard. Then he charged towards Bing Yao, but he missed again. Damn human, don't hide if you have the guts. The giant rhinoceros saw that it had missed its target twice, and the anger in its heart began to rise. In addition, Fonda and the others were staring at it from the side, which made it feel even more pressured. Its innate life-saving skill could not be used frequently, so it could only fight them head-on now. Fortunately, its skin was rough and thick. Otherwise, if it were any other beast, it would have been tortured to death by them long ago. These abominable humans, abominable humans. It couldn't help but curse in its heart. Little rhinoceros, do you know the rules? If I don't dodge, can I still be called a bullfight? Bullfighting, the one I'm fighting is naturally you. If I were to be beaten by you, wouldn't I become a laughingstock? Bing Yao laughed evilly. Bullfight? Damn it, you actually think I'm a bull? Detestable. The giant rhinoceros bell-like eyes narrowed in anger. The 2 streams of white gas that came out of its nostrils became even more intense. This also meant that it was even more furious. You've always been awesome, Bing Yao said angrily. I'm not a bull. The giant rhinoceros roared in anger. In order to prove that it was different from the other bulls, it charged towards Bing Yao again. Bing Yao laughed to himself. This silly rhinoceros, you still dare to say that you're not a bull? If you're not a bull, then why are you always running to my side? I don't have any grass for you to eat. Just like that, the giant rhinoceros charged at Bing Yao again and again. Although it failed every time, it was not discouraged. It worked hard with an indomitable spirit until it was too tired to run anymore. However, when it lay on the ground and panted heavily, its big eyes were still staring at Bing Yao fiercely. Now, its hatred for this man, who was as pretty as a gigolo, had surpassed Fonda and the others. Bing Yao saw that the giant rhinoceros was so tired that it fell to the ground and consoled it considerately. Little rhinoceros, rest well. Don't be in a hurry to get up. I will wait for you. Oomph. The giant rhinoceros turned its head and decided not to look at it anymore. Otherwise, it would become the first rhinoceros in the godly mainland to be angered to death. It didn't want to become a huge disgrace to the rhinoceros clan. Little rhinoceros, don't ignore me. Come, be good. Talk to me. Bing Yao saw the giant rhinoceros turn its head and couldn't help but smile and open his mouth to coax. However, his words did not receive any response. Fonda and the others were all speechless, but they still admired Bing Yao, as expected of her Miss Senior Brother. They had been beating it up for so long, but they hadn't been able to cause much damage to the little rhinoceros. However, Bing Yao just took out a piece of red cloth and shook it a few times, and the silly rhinoceros was so tired that it fell to the ground. It was unbelievable. In fact, what they didn't know was that the rhinoceros was tired, but more than that, it was angry. It was both tired and angry, so the rhinoceros fell. Little rhinoceros, quickly get up and continue playing with me. It's rare for me to see a bull, so you can't disappoint me. Little rhinoceros, don't be lazy. Quickly get up. Otherwise, it'll kill all the female rhinos in the forest and make sure you can't find a wife. Little rhinoceros, quickly get up. If you continue to be lazy, it'll make sure you can't be a male beast. Let's see how you're going to carry on the family line after I kill you. Chapter 1226, Battle of the Rhinoceros. 3. Bing Yao saw that the rhinoceros was ignoring him, so he had to coax and threaten it. However, he had already told it that it would not be able to find a wife, and he even said that he would kill it. The rhinoceros was still playing dead, which made him a little angry. When everyone heard what Bing Yao said, cold sweat started to drip down from their foreheads. They thought to themselves, strong. What a strong man. Looking at this immortal-like man, how could he say such evil words? This was truly too inconceivable. Could this be the so-called, you can't judge a book by its cover? In fact, the giant rhinoceros on the ground did not want to ignore Bing Yao, but it was so angry that it could not speak. It was known that a beast like it cared the most about the mother beast and the continuation of its family line. However, this despicable man in front of it wanted to take away both of them. It was really unbearable, but could not beat him. Woo! What should it do? The giant rhinoceros kept thinking and thinking in its heart, but it still couldn't think of a good way to deal with this man. So at this time, it was quite depressed. After thinking for a long time, the giant rhinoceros' strength had almost recovered. It opened its eyes and saw that everyone had found a place to sit down and rest. No one was paying attention to it, so it wanted to sneak away. Woo! It couldn't beat these people, but it should be fine to leave this place, right? Although it had lived here for a long time and had deep feelings for this place, it was still outnumbered. If it continued to stay here, it might be killed by that hateful man. This was the thing it cared about the most. So for the sake of its descendants, it should leave as soon as possible. At the same time, the giant rhinoceros had already started to move. It was quietly crawling on the ground, crawling and crawling. When it felt that it had crawled far away, it stood up from the ground and prepared to escape. However, its every move was seen by everyone, and when they saw the hill-like behemoth moving on the ground, they did not remind it that it was too big for it to sneak away. Instead, they watched as the smiling giant rhinoceros rubbed against the ground like a snail. Young miss, when do we take action? This self-conceited little rhinoceros is about to escape. Fonda was speechless as he looked at the rhino's clumsy movements. He didn't know what to say. He had never seen anyone who wanted to escape and still maintained such a huge body. It was impossible for people not to notice it in this state. AI, he was really helpless. Could he say that this little rhinoceros was smart for a while, but confused for a lifetime? Don't worry, let it crawl for a while. Aren't you touched to see it so careful? Lung Ruoshua chuckled and teased, "Ha, this rhinoceros was really too funny." She really didn't know how it thought of this. She looked at this little rhinoceros' actions and almost laughed in her heart. Don't worry, it won't be able to run away. ITLL know that everything it has done has been in vain. Bing Yao said mysteriously. He was happy to see the little rhino run away. Seeing that they were so confident, Fonda was happy to continue watching the show. He believed that the young lady would not let the little rhinoceros run away. The little giant rhinoceros sneakily crawled for a while, thinking that its actions were very secretive and that no one had noticed it. It was secretly happy in its heart, but suddenly it felt as if it had hit something. It raised its head and found that there was a thin, almost transparent film in front of it. It stretched out a fingernail and poked it. The film was very elastic and couldn't be broken no matter what. Whoa, what the hell was this? How could it be like this? The little rhinoceros wanted to cry, but had no tears. It was very unwilling in its heart. Could it be that everything it had done had been in vain? No, it had crawled so far with great difficulty, and it definitely couldn't give up halfway. It had to leave this place and stay far away from these terrifying demons. While he was thinking, the giant little rhinoceros used the horn on its head to hit the film, but the film did not break at all. Not even a ripple was left. However, the little rhinoceros would not give up easily. It used the horn on its head to hit the film again and again. After a long time, The transparent film was still intact. Seeing this result, the giant small rhinoceros was furious. Fuck, those humans bullied it. And this thin film also bullied it. It's really too hateful. It didn't believe that it couldn't break this damn thing. The little rhinoceros was furious. The consequences were very serious. It gathered all its strength into its horn and then rushed towards the thin film. Reading on MyBoXN, oh welcome, please. The membrane in front of the little rhino was extremely elastic and extremely tough. The little rhino's momentum was completely reflected back, and with a loud dong sound, the little rhino that had been reflected back fell heavily to the ground. How pitiful. How painful is this? Sueju couldn't help but click her tongue when she heard the loud noise. However, she quite admired the patience of the little rhinoceros. If it were her, she would have turned around and left. It's fine. Its skin is thick, so it won't be damaged. Lin Yuan, who was at the side, said with a smile. Miss, when are we going to see it? Fengde also asked. I'm waiting, Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. All right, he said. Fengde nodded, and the crowd continued to watch the show. The giant little rhinoceros was more stubborn than they had thought. After its first attempt failed, it quickly got up from the ground and continued to attack. From this, it could be seen how determined it was to escape. However, the more it wanted to escape, the more it couldn't. The thin film seemed to be deliberately going against it. No matter how much strength it used, it couldn't break it. Half a day's time passed by very quickly. Lung Ruoxue and the rest had seen enough of the fun, so everyone started to prepare lunch. The giant little rhinoceros, who was still struggling with the transparent film, felt even more hungry after smelling the fragrance of the food. Its stomach also growled. It knew that it was hungry. The giant little rhinoceros, who was as tired as a dead dog, turned its head when it smelled the fragrance of the food. It just happened to see the humans that it hated so much eating and drinking, and it was even angrier. Fuck, these abominable humans were actually eating. It was still hungry. How could they eat? The more the little rhinoceros thought about it, the more it felt that it wasn't right. It was so impulsive that it strode over to Lung Ruoxue and the others with its 4 pillar-like thick legs. At this moment, it had even forgotten its original intention, and it didn't even remember that it wanted to escape. Despicable humans, how can you eat in front of your grandpa? He was really too evil. I'm confiscating the food now. The giant rhinoceros had forgotten its fear and its goal. In its eyes, there was only the hot and fragrant food. In its heart, it was constantly shouting, I want to eat. Why can't we eat in front of you? Aren't you planning to escape? You still care if we eat or not? Lung Ruoxue teased. This rhinoceros was really interesting. Why was it so naive? How did you know that I was trying to escape? The giant little rhinoceros was shocked and quickly asked, Woo, could it be that my thoughts have been discovered by them? That's impossible, right? It thought it had done it flawlessly. So how could it have been discovered? These cunning humans must be trying to trick it. They must be. It couldn't help but think that it was self-righteous. Weren't you trying to escape just now? Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she asked. No, of course not. Why would I run away? You've misunderstood me. The little rhinoceros quickly denied it. Woo, even if you beat it to death, it would not admit it. It'll never admit it. Then you committed suicide just now. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face was filled with question marks. My head is a little itchy. The little rhinoceros said blindly. Woo, it looked like they really saw it. What should they do? It seemed that it could only deny it. Itchy head, do you need my help? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile that was not a smile. That beautiful smile on her face caused a chill to run down the little rhinoceros' spine. Woo-woo, bad guy, scoundrel. He was scaring it again. Although it was a little afraid of these humans, it was not scared. The little rhinoceros thought to itself with a backbone. However, the words that it blurted out did not have any backbone at all. No need. I can handle it myself. You just have to give me the food now. I'm confiscating it. The little rhinoceros' words were soft at first, but the more it spoke, the more stubborn it became. Perhaps it was because it was too hungry. It couldn't care about anything else. In any case, At this time, there was only the fragrant food in its eyes. Confiscated? Why? If we give it to you just because you want it, then we'll lose face. Lung Ruoshue said, amused. This is my territory. If you eat on my territory, I have every reason to confiscate it. The little rhinoceros thought for a long time before it said, thinking that it had sufficient reason. Eating on its territory and craving it, it was really detestable. Little rhinoceros, do you still remember that I told you before that this entire forest, including the 3 mountains around it, now belongs to me? So, we're not on your territory, but mine. So from now on, you have to listen to us. Lung Ruoshue reminded him with a smile. On what basis? I'm the king of this mountain, and I've always been the one in charge here. The little rhinoceros roared. It had been king and lord here for many years, and no one had dared to find trouble with it. Now, this human was actually telling it to listen to her. This was absolutely not allowed. I'm in charge now. If you're still not convinced, then we'll settle it with force. Lung Ruoshue laughed evilly. Force? Good. Martial strength is fine, but you can't fight in a group. I request a one-on-one fight. I want him to fight me one-on-one. The little rhinoceros raised its huge hoof and pointed at the immortal-like Bing Yao. This hateful man had treated it like a bull for so long. If it didn't take revenge, it wouldn't be a rhinoceros. It swore to avenge the rhinoceros clan. Seeing the little rhino's choice, everyone's expression was very strange. They didn't know what to say. AI, poor little rhinoceros. You didn't use this little trick in the right place. He actually chose the strongest one among them. Wasn't this clearly looking for a beating? Moreover, this person was its own choice. If it lost, it wouldn't dare to go back on its word, right? Everyone secretly sighed to themselves. Are you sure you want to have a one-on-one fight with me? Bing Yao looked at the proud little rhino in surprise and confirmed. Chapter 12:27. Terrifying Plant 1. Of course I, your grandfather, want to fight you one-on-one. The little giant rhinoceros said arrogantly. It also wanted to fight this hateful man like how he had fought it just now. It wanted to let him have a taste of its power. AI, since you insist, then I'll have to respectfully comply. However, what if you lose? Bing Yao asked with a helpless smile. I won't lose. The giant rhinoceros said confidently. It was a 4th-class sacred beast, and the detestable man in front of it was a high-level divine being, which was about the same as it. However, its defense was extremely abnormal, so it was very confident that it could defeat this pretty boy. However, when it really fought with Bing Yao, it realized that it had made a huge mistake. Unlike confident men or male beasts, come. Little rhino, I won't let you down. Bing Yao smiled and walked out from the crowd. The man and beast stood face to face. Bing Yao and the giant little rhino stared at each other. Then he took out the red cloth and spread it in front of him. The little rhino was furious when it saw the red cloth. Damn it! Who asked you to take out that cloth again? Quickly put it away. Don't let this grandpa see it again. The giant rhinoceros roared angrily. Its eyes as big as copper bells were wide open, and white gas was constantly coming out of its nostrils. Didn't you want to fight me one-on-one? This is my weapon. Do you want me to fight you empty-handed? Bing Yao smirked and asked calmly. Change your weapon. I don't want to see that thing. The little rhinoceros' eyes were burning with fire as it roared. I'm sorry, I only have this one weapon. Bing Yao shrugged his shoulders and said innocently. The little rhinoceros was so angry that it couldn't speak. More and more white gas came out of its nostrils. It was obvious that its anger had already risen. Then what? Little rhinoceros, come quickly. I'm waiting for you here. Bing Yao shook the red cloth in his hand and said to the little rhinoceros provocatively. The little rhinoceros looked at the sea of red in front of it, and the blood in its body was completely stimulated. Red? Red? It hated red the most. I won't let you off. At this time, the little rhinoceros' heart was completely occupied by red, and it couldn't think of anything else. The heat wave in its brain was also getting more and more, churning in its mind. In an instant, everyone saw the huge little rhinoceros flying towards Bing Yao like an arrow. Bing Yao calmly shook the red cloth in his hand and did an elegant turn to avoid the collision of the giant little rhinoceros. The little rhinoceros stopped its huge hooves and turned around to fly towards Bing Yao. Its huge hooves stirred up a cloud of dust on the ground. In the blink of an eye, everyone was covered in the dust. Reading on Mybo XN, oh welcome, please. Cough, cough. Everyone coughed a few times and quickly covered their mouths and noses to prevent themselves from inhaling too much dust. When the dust slowly dispersed, everyone released their hand from covering their mouths and noses and began to complain in unison. Damn little rhinoceros, you've gone too far. You actually want to choke us to death. Lin Yuan was the first to speak indignantly. That's right, it must have done it on purpose. Feng also agreed. Miss, let's not let it go. Let's skin it and make armor for each of us. Fonda suggested. Their voices were extremely loud, as if they were afraid that the angry little rhino couldn't hear them. I feel that this little rhinoceros is a good guard. With it guarding our door, those who don't have eyes won't dare to come and cause trouble. Lung Ruoxue played along. Yup, this little rhinoceros has quite a variety of uses, so let it look after our home first. When it's old, we'll skin it and make armor for us. Naturally, we will sell it. Young lady, what do you think of this arrangement? After Feng De heard Lung Ruoxue's words, he pondered for a moment before speaking again. Yes, it's decided then. Lung Ruoxue agreed with a smirk. Their conversation naturally entered the little rhinoceros' ears without missing a word. The little rhinoceros, who was on the verge of collapse from the stimulation of red, heard their words again. The anger in its heart multiplied. In the blink of an eye, the original dark skin was faintly overflowing with red. It could be seen how angry it was. However, it vented all its anger on Bing Yao. It was all this detestable pretty boy's fault. Otherwise, how could it have the opportunity to be humiliated by these hateful humans? The little rhinoceros was filled with hatred. At the same time, it gathered all its power into its head and charged towards Bing Yao. When Bing Yao saw the little rhino running towards him like a madman, a beautiful smile appeared on his face. He jumped up and dodged the attack. The little rhinoceros did not want to miss its attack, so it kicked another huge leg towards Bing Yao. Bing Yao saw it and grabbed the huge hoof with his hand. This hoof is quite fat. It should be delicious. Bing Yao concluded after some observation. Damn human, let go of my foot. The three-legged little rhinoceros roared in anger. Woo, it doesn't feel good to be unable to maintain balance. Damn human, I won't let him off. You were the one who sent your foot here. I thought you gave it to me. Oh, how can you make it taste good? Bing Yao frowned and said with a conflicted expression, Despicable humans. That detestable pretty boy. The little rhinoceros struggled with all its might, trying to pull its feet out of Bing Yao's hands. Ugh! When Lung Ruoxue and the rest heard the words pretty boy come out of the little rhino's mouth, they knew that this was bad news. This little rhino was definitely going to be in trouble because no man would like to hear these words. When they thought of this, they couldn't help but look at the little rhino with pity. When Bing Yao heard the little rhino's words, his expression remained the same, but his eyes became even deeper. A beautiful smile hung on his face as he asked softly, Did you just call me a pretty boy? That's right. It's me, your grandfather, who said it. You pretty boy, let go of my foot. The furious little rhinoceros didn't sense the approaching danger and still shouted. Chapter 1228, Terrifying Plant 2. Good. As you wish. I'm letting go. After he finished speaking, he waved his hand, and the little rhino's mountain-like body fell back. With a loud dong sound, the little rhino fell on its back. Its four legs were as strong as pillars, and it kept kicking. However, looking at the way it was moving, it would not be able to get up without help. Detestable. He's really too detestable. The little rhinoceros lay on the ground as steady as Mount Tai, its mouth still cursing nonstop. Little rhinoceros, you're really too rude. I've already let you go. How can you still curse people? Bing Yao said unhappily. Then He raised his hand, and an ice skill flew out from his hand, sealing the little rhino's mouth. Woo! The little rhinoceros felt a cold sensation on its mouth, but it couldn't say anything. It could only stare at Bing Yao with its big eyes. Little rhinoceros, this is your punishment for scolding me. Bing Yao laughed. Then he released a gust of wind from his hand, and the little rhino that was lying on the ground was lifted up. After a somersault, it landed firmly on all four limbs. It finally didn't have to lie on the ground with its four legs up. After the little rhinoceros got up, its mouth was still tightly sealed in ice. It wanted to use its hooves to push the ice away, but it found that its hooves were a little too big to reach its mouth. This made it depressed. Woo! Damn human. You don't dare to fight with me with real weapons, so you use these little tricks. You're too despicable. It couldn't help but curse in its heart. Woo! The little rhino barked at Bing Yao, telling him to let go of her. Seeing this, Bing Yao hit the little rhino's mouth with another red skill. The ice melted in an instant, but the red skill burned the little rhino's mouth again. It was so painful that it cried out, "Arg! It hurts! It hurts! Damned human! You're doing this on purpose." The little rhinoceros stomped its feet in pain, but it couldn't help but roar angrily. "I did it on purpose. What can you do to me?" Bing Yao said with a calm smile. "Damn it! Do you dare to fight me with real weapons? Don't use those little tricks anymore." The little rhinoceros asked loudly. "Little rhinoceros, you must not have heard that all is fair in war. What was a real sword and spear? What could be considered a small trick? In a battle, as long as you can win, you can use any means. You can't blame anyone." Bing Yao said with a look of disdain. "Then, do you dare to do it for real with me?" The little rhinoceros asked with its eyes wide open. "Little rhinoceros, I was just playing with you, but since you want to fight me seriously, then I'll fulfill your wish." Bing Yao chuckled. "Good. Pretty boy. Little one, prepare to die." The little rhinoceros roared and charged towards Bing Yao again. Reading on MyBoXN, oh welcome, please. In fact, the rhinoceros fighting methods were very limited. They were not good at skill attacks. They liked to use physical collisions, relying on their tyrannical bodies and super strong defense to wear down the enemy. This was the most common method of the rhinoceros clan, and often the most effective method. However, it was a pity. If it was someone else, this attack might have worked, but it was against Bing Yao, a man that even the master of the Ning family couldn't do anything to. Would he care about a little rhinoceros? Facing the attacks of the little rhino, Bing Yao only dodged left and right, and the little rhino was already exhausted. "Damn it, don't just hide, all right?" Seeing that its attack was ineffective against the man in front of it, the little rhinoceros became even angrier. "I want dodge. If I'm hit by you, I won't be able to keep my little life. Do you think I'm stupid?" Bing Yao said with a smile. "If you keep dodging like this, how long are we going to fight?" The little rhinoceros was very depressed. Damn it, it couldn't even touch the corner of this man's clothes, but it had already exhausted itself to death. When you're exhausted and you admit defeat, it'll win. Bing Yao said angrily. "Good, just you wait." The little rhino couldn't take it anymore. It raised its giant hooves and stomped on the ground twice, then gathered its strength and charged towards Bing Yao. "Little rhinoceros, your attack is too simple. Do you know anything else other than crashing into people?" Bing Yao looked at the little rhinoceros and said unhappily, "This is our rhinoceros clan's most effective attack method. If it wasn't a deal with you, I wouldn't have used my full strength. So, you should feel deeply honored." The little rhinoceros said with an arrogant look. "Oh, then I have to thank you." This time, Bing Yao didn't dodge. Instead, he put one of his hands on the rhino's horn and blocked the attack with his bare hands. "Little rhinoceros, I didn't dodge this time. You can't do anything to me either, can you?" Bing Yao asked with a smile. "Despicable human, quickly take your hand away." The little rhinoceros horn was grabbed by someone, and it was like its entire body was being controlled, making it very uncomfortable. "Are you sure you want me to take my hand off?" Bing Yao asked. "Quickly take it away." The little rhinoceros roared. "Good, I'm taking it away." After Bing Yao finished speaking, he let go of the rhino's hand. Everyone saw the rhino jump into the air and flip a few times in the air. Then, it landed heavily on the ground with its head facing down. The ground was hit by the rhino's huge body, and it created a deep pit. Everyone's forehead was full of black lines. They walked to the deep pit and looked down. They saw the little rhinoceros' round, big buttocks exposed outside, and most of its body was buried in the soil. After a long time, the little rhinoceros, half buried in the soil, was still motionless. He's dead? AI. What a pity. I originally wanted to let it guard our house. Feng Da's face was full of regret. Yup. However, it's good that they're dead. At least we have something to buy our armors. Lin Yuan also said, its body is so huge. I think its meat can be sold for a lot of money. Suju said like a little money grubber. Yes, miss, when are we going to get out? Feng Da asked, his face full of anticipation. Chapter 12:29. A terrifying plant. 3. Don't worry, make sure it's dead. Can't you see it, but it's still shaking? Lung Ruoshua laughed as she spoke. She was filled with sympathy for this unlucky rhinoceros. Why did it find its senior brother, who liked to play pranks? Miss, let me help it. After Feng Da finished speaking, he took out a dagger from his storage ring, aimed at the right position, and threw it at the little rhinoceros' round butt. With a poochy sound, the dagger pierced into the flesh. The little rhinoceros, which was half buried in the ground, actually struggled out from the ground due to the intense pain. However, its body and head were covered in dust, leaving only a pair of big eyes that were as big as copper bells staring at Lung Ruoshua and the rest. Miss, has it been knocked silly? Seeing that the little rhinoceros didn't speak for a long time, Lu Tao couldn't help but ask curiously. In her eyes, this little rhinoceros was a chatterbox. It was really abnormal for it to not speak for so long. You're the silly one. Your whole family is dumbfounded. Hearing Green Peach's words, the little rhinoceros finally reacted and roared angrily. Little rhinoceros, didn't your mother teach you that trouble comes from the mouth? Lung Ruoshua asked with a faint smile. Well, a little fellow who couldn't see the situation clearly. Fortunately, it had met them. Otherwise, if it had been someone else, it would have become someone else's lunch. I don't have a mother, the little rhinoceros said viciously. After that, it turned its eyes to its biggest enemy, Bing Yao, and roared, Damn human pretty boy, you can't bully our rhinoceros clan like this. Then what do you want me to do? I'll give you one more chance. Bing Yao said helplessly. He reached out and pulled the huge rhino out of the pit and threw it on the ground. The little rhinoceros got up from the ground and glared at Bing Yao before attacking again. But this time, Bing Yao didn't want to play with it anymore. It was going to be dark if he continued playing, so he had to make this stubborn little guy convinced. With that in mind, Bing Yao threw out both of his fists and hit the little rhino's body. The little rhino cried out in pain. Not long after, the rhino's thick skin was covered in blood, and its horn was broken into two. After a long time, looking at the dying little rhinoceros on the ground, Bing Yao smiled and walked in front of it. He squatted down and asked, Little rhinoceros, are you convinced now? Do you want to continue? No, I don't want to. You're a pervert. Although the little rhinoceros was unwilling, it was indeed not this pretty boy's opponent. Woo, how could this pretty boy be so powerful? It had really misjudged. At this moment, it was so regretful that its intestines had turned green. You're calling me a pervert? Bing Yao squinted his eyes, clearly unhappy. In fact, he felt wronged. He had only beaten the little rhinoceros a few times. How did it become a pervert? The real pervert was Lung Ruoshua. Okay? Reading on MyBoXN, oh welcome. Please. No, it wasn't he. I mean, you're too amazing. The little rhinoceros quickly changed its words, its little heart trembling in fear. Then why are you still calling me a pretty boy? Bing Yao asked again with a threatening look on his face. It was as if he was saying, if you dare to call me a pretty boy again, they'll send you to hell. How can you be a pretty boy? How can there be such a powerful pretty boy like you? The little rhinoceros said with tears in its eyes. Although it looked very similar, it couldn't help but add in its heart. But now, it knew that appearance could lie. It swore. In the future, it would never judge a book by its cover. That is, if it could still live. Then, do you still call yourself Grandpa? Bing Yao continued to ask. I don't dare. I don't dare. You're my grandpas. You're all my grandpas. The little rhinoceros said loudly without any backbone. Damn rhinoceros. Who are you calling your grandfather? When Lu Tao heard the term grandfather, she was obviously very dissatisfied. They are grandpas, and you are grandmas. This should be fine, right? The little rhinoceros said with a crying face. Woo, these people were really too difficult to serve. When Fengda and the others heard the little rhino's words, they could not help but laugh. However, Green Peach was even angrier. Damn it, who wants to be your grandmother? Green Peach was so angry that she threw the divine skill in her hand at the little rhinoceros body as if she did not care about her life. The poor little rhinoceros had never thought that it would be beaten up by a man disguised as a pretty boy, and now it was going to be beaten up by a tigress. It was so depressed that it wanted to vomit blood. Moreover, the injuries on its body were even more serious. Woo! Who would pity it? Don't bully this vulnerable group of people. After Green Peach had vented enough, the poor little rhinoceros was finally free. At this time, it was so weak that it couldn't even speak. At this moment, Bing Yao took out a pill from his storage ring and stuffed it into the little rhino's mouth. In the blink of an eye, the injuries on the little rhino's body were completely healed, and the broken horn on its head grew back. It stood up from the ground and looked at the people in front of it with vigilance and fear. It didn't dare to speak anymore. Just now, because of the word grandmother, it had suffered another round of physical pain, so it had to learn from its mistakes. Woo! It was really too pitiful. The little rhinoceros couldn't help but complain in its heart. Bing Yao looked at the little rhino's frightened face and couldn't help but smile. Little rhinoceros, do you still want to have a one-on-one fight with me? And no, I don't want any more. I'm really convinced. The little rhinoceros quickly said. Its heart was filled with endless melancholy. It really missed home. Then tell me, who will you listen to in the future? Bing Yao asked with a smile. He'll listen to you. From now on, he'll be your little brother. He'll do whatever you tell me to do. If you tell me to go east, he'll never go west. I promise he'll do what I say. Just let me go. The little rhinoceros' eyes were filled with tears as it pitifully pleaded. We didn't plan to kill you. If you were so tactful, you wouldn't have to suffer this pain. Lung Roashua sighed softly and said with a hint of sympathy. The little rhinoceros was speechless. Woo! It didn't know that these people were so terrifying. Otherwise, it would have been well behaved. Little rhino, since you're convinced, we won't hold it against you for offending us before. However, I want you to remember who the master of this place is. You're only a citizen of my territory. In the future, you must obey the rules of my territory. Otherwise, don't blame me for being impolite. Lung Ruashua warned. Chapter 1230. Terrifying Plant 4. Yes. The little rhinoceros quickly nodded. Woo! It was used to living here. Although it had the thought of leaving, it was still reluctant to leave. After all, it had deep feelings for this place. Then you could just stay here. Don't cause trouble. Take the food as compensation for your beating. Go and eat. Lung Raoshua pointed at the food that was still steaming. After she finished speaking, she prepared to lead the group away from this place. However, he had only taken a few steps when he was stopped by the confused little rhinoceros. Wait, didn't you want me to guard your house? The little rhinoceros asked in a low voice. I'm just teasing you. Our house is very safe. We don't need Beastie to guard the house. Lung Ruashua chuckled and left with the rest. The little rhinoceros watched as everyone's gazes left. It had an indescribable feeling in its heart. It had mixed feelings and was extremely complicated. Whoa, what was wrong with it? Why was he so dispirited? It looked at its former home, which was filled with the water it hated the most. It was afraid that it would not be able to live in it for a short time. Then it looked at the deep pit that it had smashed out. It'll stay there for the time being. At the thought of this, the little rhinoceros adjusted its state of mind and walked towards the deep pit. Of course, before it left, it naturally did not forget to destroy the food left behind by Lung Ruoxue and the others. Lung Ruoxue and the rest left the little rhinoceros residence and headed towards the next dangerous place. The next morning, they followed Xiaoxiao's guidance and found the place that Xiao Xiao had said was dangerous. This place was located in the southernmost part of the Nightmare Forest, quite a distance from the mountain where they lived. Moreover, compared with the little rhino's bear house, this place was much greener, although it was still not as good as ZUS. The plants here were mainly grass, and trees were rare. They had never seen many of the plants here before. It was obvious that this was a kingdom of plants. Be careful, everyone, Lung Ruoxue reminded him. Then, she pulled the demon and led the way into the dangerous plains. As they walked, Lung Ruoxue and the rest realized that there were more and more plants. Furthermore, they were all growing luxuriantly. The plants seemed to be very excited when they saw them, and they kept shaking their leaves. Are these plants welcoming us? Lu Tao asked in confusion as she looked at the plants that were swaying in front of them. Reading on Maibo XN, oh welcome, please. They're welcoming us, but they're welcoming us to become their food, Lung Ruoxue said with a faint smile. Her words gave everyone a huge shock. Miss, don't tell me you mean that these plants want to eat us. Fonda said in disbelief. This is what I meant. Lung Ruoxue laughed nonchalantly. Then, she pointed at the grass not far away, indicating for everyone to look over. Everyone's gaze followed the direction that Lung Ruoxue was pointing at and saw that in the hidden underbrush, the color of the ground was dark red. Furthermore, there was also a hint of blood. When everyone saw this, they suddenly felt nauseated. Miss, what's going on? Could it be that those grass are all carnivorous? Feng Da's face was full of question marks. No, but there must be some carnivorous grass here. So be careful. Lung Ruoxue reminded him again. Yes, everyone nodded. After seeing the dark red soil, they didn't dare to let their guard down. The group walked all the way, and the deeper they went, the stronger the smell of blood became until they came to a place similar to a mountain stream. When they saw everything in front of them, they couldn't help but widen their eyes, their faces full of disbelief. In front of them, there were vines of different sizes, many of which had several small animals tied up. The small animals' faces were filled with pain, and their blood flowed endlessly to the vines that trapped them. Some of the small animals kept struggling, but the more they struggled, the more firmly the vines bound them. In the end, they became the vines' food. Miss, are these man-eating vines? Fonda could not help but ask. It could be considered a type of man-eating vine. However, they're of a much higher grade than ordinary man-eating vines, and they've already developed intelligence. Lung Ruoxue explained calmly. Chapter 12:31. God-devouring vine, one arc. No way. Wouldn't that make it difficult to deal with? Fonda said gloomily. He hated these flesh-eating creatures the most. Since he had encountered them, he had to destroy them. However, they already had spiritual intelligence, so it was not so easy to deal with them. It's definitely difficult to deal with. Moreover, the vines we see now aren't the main vine. So, in order to deal with the man-eating vines, our first goal is to find the main vine. As long as the main vine dies, these vines will be easy to destroy. Otherwise, no matter how many we destroy, these vines will continue to grow. Lung Ruoxue explained calmly. She hated the man-eating vines as well, and she hated the smell of blood even more. Hence, these man-eating vines had to be eliminated. Miss, what should we do now? Are we still going in? Fonda couldn't help but ask. There were too many people going in, and he was afraid that he wouldn't be able to take care of them. However, if he waited outside, who knew what kind of danger there would be? So, he was very conflicted. All of you go in. However, everyone must be on high alert and be on high alert. If anyone is caught by the man-eating vines, they must shout for help in case we don't notice them. Lung Ruoxue said, after some thought. It was just as Fonda had thought. It might seem safe to leave a group of people outside, but there might be unknown dangers. If that happened, they would definitely not be able to rescue them in time. Hence, it was better for everyone to enter together. Godfather, you guys have to be careful of these man-eating vines too. Lung Ruashue reminded him again. Even though Godfather was a reverent god, he might not be able to deal with these annoying man-eating vines. After all, these man-eating vines grew in the god realm. Even the gods would be helpless against them. After some thought, Lung Ruashue moved the fire spirit out of her bracelet. The moment the little fire spirit came out, it smelled the blood in the air and wrinkled its nose in disgust. Then, it said in dissatisfaction, "Where is this place? Why are there such disgusting things here?" As the king of fire, what he hated the most was all the filthy things in the world. These vines that liked to suck blood and flesh were naturally on his blacklist. Therefore, he had to destroy them. Thinking of this, he released a big fireball without hesitation and threw it at the nearby vines. When the vines felt the fire spirit's temperature, they all cowered and shook their branches. The timid ones even let go of the small animals they had trapped and wanted to escape. However, how could a fire spirit give them the chance to escape? It threw a few more big fireballs in succession, cutting off the path of the vines and burning them to ashes in one fell swoop. "Sister, I've destroyed all those vines. It's much cleaner here, but the smell of blood is still there. It'll purify in a while, and it'll be suitable for other plants to grow." The fire spirit said with a proud tone, "Little fire spirit, you're so capable. However, you've only destroyed a portion of it. We haven't found the main vine yet." Lung Ruashue chuckled. "It doesn't matter. With Big Sisters and my flames, no one can escape from these disgusting things. Big Sister, why don't you let Xochio come out and try? That little thing is the most sensitive to things that have developed intelligence. Perhaps it can find the whereabouts of the main vine." The little fire spirit suggested. "That's good." Lung Ruashue nodded, and then moved Xochio out of the bangle. The first thing Xochio did was to get intimate with Lung Ruashue. Then it was the first elder, Master Ning, and the others who received its greetings and enthusiasm. The cute little Xochio naturally won the love of everyone. "Sister, the main vine of the man-eating vine should be hidden underground. It's hidden very deeply, so I can't sense it. However, as long as Big Sister annihilates all of its descendants, you'll naturally be able to force the man-eating vine to come up." Xochio pointed at the tender vine that had just grown and suggested, "It'll do it." The little fire spirit volunteered. After it finished speaking, it continued to release large fireballs, burning away the vines that had just grown out and were still tender green in color. However, as soon as he finished burning it, new vines would immediately grow out and he would continue to burn them. This cycle repeated, and the growth of the vines became slower and slower, while the little fire spirit burned more and more vigorously. In the end, the little fire spirit was getting impatient while waiting for the vines to grow. Reading on MyBoXN, "Oh, welcome, please. Vines, oh vines, you guys are growing really slowly. I've been waiting for so long that the flowers are wilting." The little fire spirit looked at the tender vine that had just emerged and muttered to itself, "Ha ha, this little thing is taking advantage of us and still acting innocent. No matter how fast those vines grow, they can't keep up with the speed at which he burns them all." Master Ning couldn't help but smile. "That's right. The little things around the girl are more arrogant than the other." The first elder also laughed. "Hee, that's right. This is called being close to vermilion makes you red, and being close to ink makes you black. They're always with my junior sister, so it's not strange for them to learn from her." Bing Yao also said with a smile, "Senior brother, may I ask if I'm Zhu or Mo?" Lung Ruashue asked with a half-smile. Of course you're vermilion, red," Bing Yao quickly said, and then secretly wiped the cold sweat on his forehead, because the other person's unfriendly gaze made him feel very scared. "Miss, are we just going to wait here forever?" Fonda asked curiously. After the vines had been burned, the place could be considered barren. As far as the eye could see, except for some places that had just revealed some tender green, the rest of the land was dark red. "Yes, if the main vine doesn't come up on its own, we can't go underground to find it. We can only use this method to force it up. Lung Rawashua laughed evilly. The vines that the little fire spirit had burned could be considered as branches of the main vine, and also its descendants. So, as long as they kept burning, the main vine would definitely come to settle the score with them. After all, the burning of the vines would definitely cause the main vine to feel pain. Hee, then let's just wait here, Fonda said with a smile. Then, he took out a knife from his storage ring and walked to a newly sprouted vine. He raised a knife and cut down on a vine. Suddenly, a dark red liquid with a foul smell flowed out of the two halves of the vine. The liquid quickly corroded the ground, turning the surrounding ground into a charred black. Chapter 1232. God-devouring vine too. Wow, these vines are really too powerful. Seeing this, Fonda was speechless. If this liquid dripped on a person's body, wouldn't the person's skin be burnt? That liquid is poisonous. Be careful. Don't get it on your body. Lung Rawashua reminded. Okay, you'll be careful. After Fonda finished speaking, he raised his knife and slashed at the other sprouts. He seemed to be addicted to it. When the others saw this, they also took out their own weapons and gave the growing sprouts a fatal blow. Lung Rawashua looked at Fonda and the rest's actions speechlessly. She couldn't help but let her imagination run wild. Oh, were they considered to be harming young seedlings? Even though those seedlings weren't anything good. At the same time, in the depths of the earth, a huge plant was trembling with anger. Countless branches were flying everywhere, and wherever the branches went, everything collapsed into ruins. Damned human, despicable humans, if you dare to kill my children, I will not let you off. A vicious woman's voice reverberated in the depths of the earth, and the dust around it also fell down. One could imagine how intense its anger was at this time. Although the voice belonged to a woman, it could not be considered a human because it was just a plant. Although it had a beautiful woman's face, its body was still a plant. Hee, I've already said that you'll face retribution, and now it's finally here. A weak female voice was heard. Thank you for your concern, but you'll definitely leave before me. After the half-human, half-plant woman finished speaking, she brought the object that made the sound to her eyes. The object was only the size of an adult puppy, and its originally white fur had turned dark yellow. Moreover, it was all tangled together. It could be seen that it had been trapped here for a long time. You're finally willing to kill me? The beastie that looked like a small dog said. Could it finally be free? In your dreams. I won't kill you. They'll let you stay here with me. However, they'll consider killing your child. You still don't know. Your child has been born, and he's here. The half-human, half-plant woman smiled smugly. Seeing the little beast in front of her in pain, it was particularly happy. If you dare to touch my child, I won't let you off even if I become a ghost. The weak little beastie's slightly dim eyes burst out with endless hatred as it threatened fiercely. Become a ghost? You can only be my toy and puppet for the rest of your life. You won't have the chance to be a ghost? Haha. I'm going to kill your child. I'm going to make you suffer. I'm going to make sure you'll never be able to free yourself. The half-human, half-plant woman laughed wildly. After she finished speaking, she even inserted one of her branches into the weak little beast's body and began to suck its blood. The weak little beast's face showed a painful expression, but it did not make a sound and closed its eyes. It knew that the hateful vampire demon would not let it die so easily. The demon had always enjoyed torturing itself, and the more it resisted, the more excited the demon would be. Therefore, it would not satisfy the demon's perverted hobby. The child, had its child really come? Dante, don't come here. There is a demon here. Little beastie screamed in its heart. It didn't want its child to be trapped here like it, unable to live or die. It wanted to save its child, wanted to see its child, but it didn't know if it would have the chance in this life. It was very conflicted. Reading on MyBoXN, oh welcome, please. When the half-human, half-plant woman saw the little beastie's self-deprecating look, her interest in sucking its blood was dispelled. She threw the little beastie in a corner in disgust, then shook her branches and leaves and crawled back to the ground. Damn humans, you're asking for death. It hasn't had fresh human blood for a long time. Today is a good time for a change of taste. Moreover, these humans did not seem to be weak. At the thought of this, its heart was excited and jubilant. Its desire for blood became stronger. It even began to fantasize about the pleasure of tying these humans to its branches. It must make these humans its exclusive property. It must drink their blood and eat their flesh every day, making them suffer a fate worse than death, just like this little beast. Just thinking about it made it feel unusually happy. However, its happiness did not last long. The branch that had just reached out of the ground was destroyed again. Seeing the situation, it was furious. Countless branches continued to drill into the ground. Little Beastie, who was left in the corner, saw the half-human, half-plant woman's face changing like a palette, and it felt very satisfied. The corners of the little beastie's mouth curled up into a faint smile as it gloated, "What, heavy losses?" It seemed that those humans weren't easy to deal with. Moreover, he clearly didn't put you in his eyes. Although it didn't know what was happening on the ground, it could guess from the evil demon's face that many of the branches that helped the evil demon hunt for food had been destroyed. Actually, this little beastie was only half right because the half-human, half-plant woman's branches were not mostly destroyed, but all of them. Otherwise, the other party would not be so angry. "You shut up. How can those humans be my match? Oof. This is my territory. I will be the one laughing in the end. Those humans, including your child who came with them, will all become my food. None of them will be able to escape." The half-human, half-plant woman roared in anger. "Oh, really? If your useless descendants could deal with those humans, would you still be so angry? I suggest you go to the surface and see for yourself. Otherwise, I'm afraid your descendants will all be dead." The little beastie provoked with evil intentions. That was indeed what it had hoped for in its heart. "Don't worry, I know what to do." The half-human and half-plant woman roared angrily. Damn it, this detestable little beast actually laughed at her. Humph. It would not let go of the humans who had killed its descendants, let alone that little bastard. As for the little beast, it would not kill it because it wanted the little beast to watch how it would eat the little bastard. Chapter 1233, God-Devouring Vine 3. I'm just concerned about you. After all, we've known each other for so long. The weak little beast said with a smile. Its only purpose in living was to witness the death of this demon. Now that someone finally dared to deal with this demon, it felt that it had something to look forward to in its child. If it could see its newly born child before it died, it would die without any regrets. Oof. I don't need your concern. You should be more concerned about your bastard. I won't let it go, it's dead. The half-human, half-plant woman sneered. If you dare to touch my child, they'll fight you to the death. The little beastie said fiercely. It forced itself up from the ground and glared at the huge plant. You want to fight me to the death? Ha ha ha. What a joke. The half-human, half-plant woman used a branch to roll up the little beast and brought it in front of her eyes, her face full of disdain and ridicule. I'm not joking. We soul-gnawing beasts have a secret technique that uses our lives as the price and perishes together with our enemies. Once I use it, even if my enemies are stronger than me, they won't be able to withstand it. So don't force me. The weak little beastie warned. Ha ha. If there really was a secret technique, would you have waited until now? You can't lie to me. The half-human, half-plant woman had a look of disbelief. Believe it or not, but don't force me to die with you. The weak little beastie said disapprovingly. It didn't want to die unless it was forced to because it still wanted to keep its life to see its child. However, if this demon wanted to use its child to force it, then it couldn't be blamed. Ha ha. Perishing together. All right, they'll be waiting for you. However, I don't have the time to deal with your business now. They'll deal with you slowly after I capture those humans. After saying that, the half-human, half-plant woman threw the weak little beast back into the corner and ignored it. Instead, she focused on dealing with the humans on the ground. It then extended countless branches out of the ground and directed its branches to attack Lung Ruashua and the others who were on the ground. Lung Ruashua and the others who were waiting for the green vines to grow were overjoyed when they saw the thick vines that suddenly emerged from the ground. This meant that the main vine that was hiding underground was no longer able to hold its breath. The little fire spirit's actions were even faster. Before the others could react, it had thrown out a few large fireballs, burning the vines to ashes. Little fire spirit, you're too bad. You didn't even give us a chance and got rid of those vines yourself. Fonda and the others couldn't help but complain. Hee, I'm sorry. I really can't bear to see those filthy things appear in front of me, and my mission is to destroy them. The little fire spirit said righteously. Everyone couldn't help but laugh when they saw that cocky little appearance. And just as everyone was ridiculing him, countless more vines drilled out from the ground. This time, it was the little fire spirit's quick hands and eyes again. After throwing out a few large fireballs, the vines all turned into ashes. Little fire spirit, can't you leave us some? Fonda said, a little speechless. He still wanted to try his own knife. However, who knew that this little thing would not give him any chance at all? Sigh. This was really infuriating. If it was any other team, they would have been running for their lives if they encountered these man-eating vines. However, they had to resort to snatching, and they would not be able to snatch them. You guys don't need to be anxious. I'm just trying to force the main vine out. When it comes out, you guys can deal with it. The little fire spirits saw everyone's complaints and quickly comforted them. Reading on Mybo XN, oh welcome, please. Oh, that's true. Then you should do it. Your speed is fast. Fonda and the others thought for a while. Then they walked to the side and left their seats empty. Immediately after, countless more vines emerged from the ground. Without exception, they were all burned by the little fire spirit. Just like that, the cycle repeated until night. The main vine didn't dare to show itself. However, the vines that it sent to the door all became dead souls under the little fire spirit's fire. Deep underground, the half-human, half-plant woman trembled with anger, and a large number of branches were still dancing in the air. The little beast in the corner was very happy to see this scene. It couldn't help but secretly sigh. It seemed that the humans outside were not easy to deal with. Otherwise, this demon would not be so angry from embarrassment. Haha, that was great. Although it didn't dare to expect the humans to destroy this demon, it was already very satisfied that they could make this demon suffer. How many years had it been since it had seen a demon like this? It really missed it. Oomph. Damn it. I won't let you see me as a joke. The half-human, half-plant woman once again wrapped the little beast in the corner with her branches and shook it up and down as she said fiercely, "Isn't it too late to say this now? You must be very angry right now, right? I can't even do anything to those humans you look down on." The half-human, half-plant in front of it called itself the God-eating vine, which meant that it could even eat gods. However, after knowing it for so long, it had not eaten many gods so far. After all, this was not the real God world, and the God-eating vine could not leave this place with its current strength. Oomph. Those humans will become my food sooner or later. Do you think you'll let them go after killing so many of my descendants? The half-human, half-plant woman said arrogantly, "Don't just talk. I think you don't even dare to leave this place. You even want to kill him." The small beast's face was full of mockery and disdain. In its opinion, if the evil demon dared to go up to the surface to take care of its so-called enemies, it would have gone up a long time ago. Since the divine devouring vine hadn't made any big movement so far, it was likely that the humans would be difficult to deal with. Don't provoke me. I won't be fooled. The half-human, half-plant woman roared angrily. Do those humans make you feel fear? Are you really scared? The little beastie continued to speak in an unconcerned manner. The smile on its face became even more obvious. Oomph. I'm not afraid of them. I just don't want to go up now. The man-eating vine with the human face and plant body still said arrogantly, "When do you want to go up?" The little beast's face was full of curiosity. Its child should be with the humans above. Although it was a little worried about its child's safety, the human who could make the God-eating vine afraid must be quite powerful. Therefore, it spared no effort to stimulate the God-eating vine. Its purpose was to make the god-eating vine reach the ground quickly. This way, it would have a chance to see its child, even just for a glance. When the time comes, it'll naturally go up and deal with them. You should worry more about yourself. The god-eating vine reminded him with a cold smile. What do I have to worry about? Other than torturing me, can you bear to let me die too quickly? The little beastie said, "Humph, at least you know your own limits." The divine, devouring vine said with a gloomy face. It kept observing the movements outside through its small branches. It was waiting. It was waiting for a suitable time to exterminate these abominable humans and that little bastard in one fell swoop. Because its greatest pleasure was to see the little beast in front of it in pain. Only when the little beast was in pain would it be happy. Ha ha! At the same time, Lung Ruashue and the rest had already started to prepare dinner. After dinner, Lung Ruashue took out the house and placed it on the empty ground. Then, everyone returned to their own rooms. Inside the bangle, Lung Ruashue was currently observing the movements outside the house through the light screen. The little fire spirit and Xiao were sprawled in her arms, similarly observing the situation. Sister, plants like the man-eating vines love dark and damp places the most. So it must be hiding somewhere underground right now, peeking at our every move. I reckon that it will launch a surprise attack on us at midnight. The little fire spirit said with absolute certainty. Yes, sister, the little fire spirit is right. That disgusting and ugly thing will definitely come out from the ground when we are all sleeping. So let's just sleep now. There's no need to care about it. Xiao also suggested. Then let's go to sleep. Lung Ruashue chuckled as she agreed. These two treasures had already decided on their behalf, so they could only follow their orders. The next morning, Lung Ruashue and the demon had just walked out of the room when they saw Fonda and the rest gathered in the courtyard. They were discussing animatedly, and each of them had a look of excitement on their faces. What's wrong? Lung Ruashue asked despite knowing the answer. Hee hee. Young miss, these man-eating vines surrounded us late last night and are now showing off their might outside. Fonda said with excitement. Oh. Lung Ruashue raised her head and happened to see the man-eating vines' branches dancing above their house. It looked like it was about to cover the house. Fortunately, there was a thin layer of film above the house that blocked the attack of the branches. Otherwise, the man-eating vines would have reached into the courtyard. Miss, what should we do now? When are you going to go out and properly deal with those man-eating vines? Fonda asked impatiently. He really wanted to try his knife. There's no rush. Let that man-eating vine be smug for a while. Let's have breakfast. Lung Ruashue suggested with a chuckle. The enemy was in high spirits, so they would not go out at this time. As time passed, the man-eating vines' fighting spirit would naturally be worn down. When that time came, it would be the time for them to make their move. Furthermore, she also wanted to understand more about the man-eating vines. All right, he said. Everyone nodded and began to prepare breakfast. After breakfast, they went about their business, but no one paid any attention to the man-eating vine. 3 days later, the man-eating vine couldn't keep its cool and moved its huge body out of the ground. Looking at the house that was already surrounded by its branches and leaves, it couldn't help but feel smug. However, the other party refused to come out of the house, and it couldn't do anything to him. This made it very unhappy. At the thought of this, the man-eating vine could not help but curse. You cowardly humans, if you have the ability, come out. Humph. What kind of skill is it to hide in there? Hurry up and come out. However, the man-eating vine's curses did not receive any response from anyone. At this time, everyone was sitting in the courtyard, observing the man-eating vine through the light screen. Chapter 1234, Sopersimmon 1 Wah. This was the man-eating vine. He's so ugly. Lu Tao looked at the man-eating vine that was cursing outside and said with a face full of disgust, Yup, why does it have a human face but a plant body? Fonda was also puzzled. Was this considered a side effect of an incomplete advancement? Some kind of accident must have happened when this plant advanced. Otherwise, it's unlikely that such a situation would occur. Xiao explained with an evil smile. Plant-type creatures were most afraid of being disturbed when advancing in rank, so this plant was in its current state. Then is it possible for it to advance normally? Or will it always be like this in the future? Sueju asked curiously. From the looks of it, this plant was a female. If it could only remain like this in the future, it was likely that this female, man-eating vine would suffer for the rest of its life. Oh, after a long time, their hearts would definitely change, such as being perverted, being cynical, and so on. It'll be a big deal if it's always like this in the future. But it doesn't matter. It won't live long anyway. It doesn't matter what it looks like. Xiao said disapprovingly. It was true that it liked heavenly and earthly treasures, but this plant was definitely not on its list of favorites. Therefore, it couldn't wait for someone to get rid of this plant. Not to mention others. The first one the little fire spirit would not let go of was that man-eating vine. That's true, miss. Are we just going to let it scold us like that? When are you going to go out and clean it up? Sueju said somewhat impatiently. In a while, I, the evildoer, godfather, great elder, senior brother, Mo Yin, and Lu Feng will go out. The rest of you stay in the house and don't act rashly. Lung Roashua said after some thought. Even though this man-eating vine's strength was only equivalent to a high-level deity, this was still its lair after all. Furthermore, it had a huge number of vines. She was afraid that it would not be able to take care of everyone. Hence, it was better to let them stay in the house. Miss, you cannot bring me along. Fengde quickly said. Miss, I want to go too. Chengwu said, unwilling to show weakness. All right, all of you follow me out. Song Di as well. The rest of you can stay in the house and watch the battle. Lung Roashua said helplessly. Furthermore, looking at her grandfather and brother's expressions, she had no choice but to bring them along. After a simple discussion of their strategy, Lung Roashua and the rest sat on the ground calmly and steadily, waiting for the right moment. The god-eating vine, which had been scolding for nearly an entire morning, saw that no one dared to come out and court death. It suddenly felt as if it had punched cotton and had no way to vent the gloominess in its heart. Thinking of this, it curled its branches and brought the weak little beast to its eyes. Oomph! Did you see that? Those humans who were as timid as mice didn't dare to come out at all. They were afraid, haha. And you? Do you want to see your child? If you want to get them to come out and die, I promise you that it'll let you see your child one last time. The god-devouring vine roared. It believed that the people hiding in the houses could hear it. I don't have the ability to call him out for you. If you have the ability, you can call me that. The weak little beast lifted its eyelids and said with a light smile, Damn it, you're really looking for death. The god-devouring vine roared. After it finished, it stuck its branches into the little beast's body and started to suck its blood. It really wanted to taste fresh human blood. It had had enough of this detestable little beast's blood. Reading on Maibo XN OVL. Calm, please. Ha. You can't bear to see me die. Little beastie was very certain. It closed its eyes and didn't look at the divine eating vine. Damn it, open your eyes. The god-devouring vine saw that the little beast was ignoring it, and the anger in its heart surged. However, the little beastie didn't seem to hear him. Only its weak breathing proved that it was still alive. In the house, Xiaoxiao's tears began to stream down her face at the sight of this scene. She muttered to herself, Mother, Xiao, is that little beastie your mother? Lu Tao asked in surprise. No wonder she found the little beast familiar. However, weren't soul-gnawing beasts supposed to be very powerful? How did her little mother become the man-eating vine's food? She really couldn't understand. Yes, it's Mom, Xiao cried. Xiao, did you get the wrong person? How could that little beast be your mother? Isn't your mother very powerful? Fonda couldn't help but ask. Even Ziyu, a half-beast human with the strength of a divine emperor, would feel fear towards an adult soul-eating beast. Therefore, he really couldn't believe that his little mother would be controlled by that man-eating vine, and even become its food. Xiao won't be wrong. That's Mommy. Well, Mommy is in pain. Sister, save Mommy. Xiao cried and begged, its tears wetting its snow-white fur. At this moment, its pitiful little appearance made everyone's heart ache. Don't worry, Xiao Xiao. We'll definitely think of a way to get your mother out. However, Xiao Xiao, you have to do as your sister says, understand? Lung Ruoxue reminded. Yes, they'll listen to you. They'll do whatever you want me to do. Xiao Xiao nodded her head vigorously, looking very obedient. All right then, Xiao Xiao. When we go out later, just follow what I taught you and look at your sister's eyes. After Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, she whispered a few words into Xiao Xiao's ear and reminded her again. Yes. Xiao Xiao nodded again. Following that, Lung Ruoxue and the rest opened the door of the house and walked out. When the god, devouring vine, which was sucking the blood of the small beast, saw that the despicable humans were finally willing to come out of the house, it threw the small beast in front of it onto the ground behind it. Then, its beautiful eyes sized up Lung Ruoxue and the rest. Although it had already observed these people when it was underground, it was still shocked and jealous to see them at such a close distance. It was shocked that the men in front of it were more handsome than each other. It was jealous of the hateful woman in front of it. How could she be more beautiful than it? This was something it could not tolerate. So, the woman was dead for sure. As for those men, it would let them live well and be its exclusive property. It would suck their blood every day and make these men its captive for life, loyal to it forever. It would always belong to it. Ha ha! The god-eating vine laughed wildly in the depths of its heart and was daydreaming. Chapter 1235. Saw Persimmon 2. Humans, you're finally willing to roll out of your house. The god-eating vine said with a disdainful smile. Man-eating vine, you must be mistaken. We've been waiting for you outside, but you didn't want to come out from the ground. Now, you're blaming us? This is ridiculous. Fonda replied with a mocking smile. What did you just call me? The god-eating vine glared at him and roared. Man-eating vines. Why? Did I address him wrongly? Could it be that you're a herbivore? Fonda teased with a smirk. Damn it, don't compare me to those low-level carnivorous plants. I'm the god-devouring vine, the king of plants. When you see me, you should bow to show respect. However, since this is your first offense, this king will not haggle with you. The god-devouring vine said with a magnanimous look. Its narcissistic words made Lung Ruoxue and the others laugh wildly. Ha ha! You call yourself the king of plants? May I ask who approved of this? Don't tell me you self-proclaimed it. I am dying of laughter. Fonda didn't give him any face as he laughed out loud. Although the others didn't say anything, the smiles on their faces revealed what they were thinking. The divine devouring vine's words were too ridiculous. How audacious! This king was born to be the king of plants, and you all dare to look down on me. I will make you regret this. The god-eating vine was furious, and its pretty face turned livid with anger. I wonder how you want us to regret this? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. I will kill you. As for these men, let them be my exclusive property. This king just so happens to need some male pets and food. In the future, you will all be this king's people. As long as you are obedient, not only will this king not eat you, but this king will also love you well. The god-eating vine boasted shamelessly. When Fonda and the rest heard the man-eating vine's words, their expressions became extremely strange. None of them had expected that this man-eating vine was not only narcissistic, but also extremely lecherous. He wanted them to be his male companions, but what did he want them to do? When Lung Ruoxue heard the man-eating vine's arrogant words, she couldn't help but laugh out loud. She even looked at Fonda and the rest with a gloating expression and teased, Oh, Fonda, you guys will be its male pets in the future, so you guys have to perform well. Fonda's forehead was full of black lines, and he couldn't help but reply, Miss, you're going to die soon. You won't be able to see if we perform well or not. What a pity. That's true. Man-eating vines. Don't kill me first. Let me see if they have the qualifications to be your male companions. Then you can kill me. Lung Ruoxue was discussing with the man-eating vines calmly. Damn it, I told you I'm not a man-eating vine. I'm the noble king of plants, god-eating vine. If you dare to call me a man-eating vine again, it'll eat you right now." The divine, devouring vine was so angry that its branches and leaves trembled, and it roared at the top of its lungs. Reading on MyBoXN OVL. Calm, please. Calm down. Pay attention to your image. No other king would shout like you. It's beneath your status. Lung Rawashue reminded. Damn it. That's because I'm angry with you guys. I'll eat whoever dares to call me man-eating vine again. The god-devouring vine threatened furiously. From its words, it sounded as if Lung Rawashue and the others had already become its food. Man-eating vine, do you really need men? I suggest you find a plant like green foxtail grass. It's a good match for you. Fonda suggested with a smile. Fonda, you're wrong. How can this man-eating vine be worthy of green foxtail grass? Don't humiliate the green foxtail grass. It has its own dignity and will not take a fancy to this man-eating vine. Chung Wu corrected him with a serious expression. Yes, that makes sense. I was wrong. I shouldn't have randomly chosen a couple. Fonda immediately admitted his mistake and had a good attitude. However, their cooperation made the divine eating vine even angrier. Now, the divine eating vine was very sure that these two people were doing this on purpose to anger it to death. Thinking of this, the god-eating vine stretched out its long branches and swept toward Fonda and Chung Wu. The branch was soft and long, extremely tough, and extremely fast. Before anyone could react, Fonda and Chung Wu had already been swept away by the branch. The god-devouring vine waved its branches and swung Fonda and Chung Wu in the air. Its intention was obvious. It wanted to give them a scare and make them faint. However, Fonda and Chung Wu would not let it have its way. The two of them were having fun in the air, and Chung Wu kept urging higher, higher. Yes, yes, throw a higher. Make your movements more intense. Fonda also said with a smile. When Lung Rawashue and the rest on the ground heard Fonda and Chung Wu's words, cold sweat trickled down their foreheads. They secretly sighed in their hearts. So, these two fellows were treating the man-eating vines as free labor. The pitiful man-eating vines. He had actually encountered these abnormal humans. When the divine devouring vine heard the conversation between the two of them, it was so angry that all the branches on its body trembled. More and more branches extended towards Lung Rawashue and the others, and with a whoosh they wrapped around them. When Lung Rawashue and the rest saw this, they went with the flow. None of them struggled, allowing the man-eating vines to do whatever they wanted. When the divine devouring vine saw that it had easily succeeded, it couldn't help but become more and more proud. In its opinion, these humans were too weak and couldn't even withstand a single blow. Otherwise, how could they have been caught by it? All right, where did that little bastard go? He seemed to have seen it just now. The divine devouring vine searched everywhere and finally found a snow-white figure in Lung Rawashue's arms. Damned human, hand over that little bastard to me, and I'll let you die a quick death. The divine devouring vine's eyes were filled with hatred as it glared at Xiao Xiao, who was in Lung Rawashue's arms. If I don't give you Xiao Xiao, how do you plan on letting me die? Lung Rawashue asked curiously. I'll first suck your blood dry, then eat your flesh. Then I'll throw you, who only has one breath left, into the forest to feed the wild beasts. I'll let you see with your own eyes that you're being gnawed at by wild beasts, and hear your bones making cracking sound in the mouths of wild beasts. At that time, you'll wish you were dead. AI, what a waste of such a beautiful face. The divine devouring vine said, burning with jealousy. Chapter 1236. Soft Persimmon 3. Yes. It was jealous. It was jealous of that woman's devastatingly beautiful face and sexy figure because it could never become a real woman again. All of this was because of that little evildoer, so it hated her. It hated all the beautiful women, but it hated those little bastards even more. Therefore, it would never let go of the two types of creatures that fell into its trap. One was women, and the other was children. That's a good idea. Lung Ruoxue praised the man-eating vine after hearing its words. Ha ha, it's good that you like it. The god-eating vine laughed wildly, and its face became more and more proud. Suddenly, it felt a burst of pain. It looked up and saw that the two men it had caught had broken free of its restraints and were falling from the air. They were each holding a knife in their hands, and dark red liquid was dripping from the knife. Needless to say, it was its blood. Seeing this scene, the god-eating vine was angry again. It quickly stretched out its branches and attacked Fonda and Chengwu. However, for some reason, the two people's movements became more flexible. It attacked left and right, but it couldn't do anything to the other party. This made it a little anxious. At the same time, the pain from its branches spread to its trunk, causing its heart to tremble. Seeing the people trapped by it break out one after another and give it a heavy blow before leaving, this fact almost made it go crazy. Damned human, I'm going to kill you all. Looking at its broken branches and leaves, the god-eating vine was very angry, because those vines were of great importance to it. They were not only a part of its body, but also shared its strength. Now, those branches were broken, which meant that its strength had been damaged. How could it not be angry from embarrassment? Man-eating vine, don't just say it. You should prove it with your actions. Lung Ruoxue, who was floating in midair, suggested with a faint smile. They'll prove it to you, you damn woman. The god-eating vine couldn't be bothered to correct the other party for not calling it a man-eating vine. Right now, it only wanted to kill this detestable woman in front of it. And these men, it also decided to eliminate them, because it didn't need disobedient male pets or food. It would make these humans pay the price. Then come quickly. They'll be waiting. Lung Ruoxue urged impatiently. Damn woman, you're asking for death. The fiery god-devouring vine gathered all its branches and leaves together and pounced towards Lung Ruoxue. Lung Ruoxue looked at the man-eating vine's extremely fast speed. In the blink of an eye, it had already reached her. Unhurriedly, she released a small flame from her fingertip. The small flame jumped excitedly, as if it was very happy that it could be of use again. After seeing the man-eating vine, it could not wait to fly towards it. Whoosh! The man-eating vine's branches were set ablaze, followed by the man-eating vine's agonized cries. Arg! Damn it! What kind of fire is that? How can he be so powerful? The god-devouring vine endured the pain and cut off its burning branch, questioning angrily. It's just an ordinary flame. Why? I'm really sorry for the pain. I didn't do it on purpose. I forgot that wood is afraid of fire. Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. However, there was not a single trace of apology on her beautiful face. Reading on Maibo XN, OVL. Calm, please. Ordinary flames? Do you think I'm as gullible as a 3-year-old child? That's definitely not an ordinary flame, and I'm not a piece of wood. The god-eating vine roared in exasperation. It felt a trace of fear towards Lung Ruoxue. The flames had multiplied its fear because it knew very well that it was no match for the flames. If it was an ordinary flame, it would not have been able to burn its branches. However, the flames had not used any strength and had burned its branches into ashes. This was enough to show that the level of the flames was very high. It was also afraid of the flames that the little doll had released. At the thought of this, Lung Ruoxue and the little doll that had not appeared in front of it had become people that it could not provoke for the time being. However, it was not as afraid of the rest. Since it had made up its mind to kill all the humans, it would not be merciful to them. However, it still had to choose the soft persimmons. After looking around, it chose a soft persimmon, and it chose Bing Yao. This man was too beautiful. If it wasn't for the fact that these humans were so hateful, it really wanted to keep this man by its side and enjoy him. What a pity. The beautiful man in front of it was destined to be its target. Although it was a little reluctant, it had decided to kill Bing Yao. After making the decision, all of its branches flew towards Bing Yao in an instant. In the blink of an eye, it had tied Bing Yao up and brought him to its eyes. Upon closer inspection, the man was stunningly beautiful. Although there were men more beautiful than him among these humans, He was more pleasing to the eye because he was too similar to the person in its heart, whether it was in temperament or appearance. Bing Yao, who was tied up like a hairpin, felt the man-eating vine's gaze on him. He did not hesitate and allowed the man-eating vine to admire him. Although he did not like the way the man-eating vine looked at him, as if he was its prey, he should not be so stingy when facing someone who was about to die. He would just do a good deed. Am I beautiful? The god-eating vine, who was immersed in its memories, asked with a shy expression. So ugly. I've never seen anyone uglier than you. Bing Yao said honestly. Although he wanted to do good every day, he couldn't lie. No normal human would think that a wooden stake was beautiful. Could it be uglier than this? The god-devouring vine was furious. It used a branch to roll up the little beast behind it and questioned Bing Yao. At least it's cute. But look at you. You're neither a human nor a tree. You can't be considered beautiful. Bing Yao said honestly. I'm in this state because of them. I won't let it go, and I won't let that little bastard go. The god-devouring vine pointed at the weak little beast and said, thinking of the past, the anger in its heart became more and more uncontrollable. We didn't harm you. It's your own evil intentions. You harmed yourself. At this moment, the weak little beast spoke indifferently. It sneaked a glance at the snow-white little beast in the woman's arms from the corner of its eye, and its heart softened. I didn't tea. Why would I want to harm myself? It's all your fault. The god-eating vine roared angrily, but it didn't get any response from little beast. Calm down. You're already in this state, and weird things won't solve the problem, right? I think you're in a lot of pain living like this, so why don't I help you free yourself? Bing Yao said with a smile, but the words he said were so vicious that it almost made the divine devouring vine vomit blood. Even you want me to die? The god-eating vine said with a heartbroken expression. Whether you die or not has nothing to do with me. However, if you don't die, I'm afraid we'll be the ones to die. So you should die. Bing Yao thought for a while and said with certainty, You really want me to die? The god-eating vine confirmed again. Yes. Bing Yao quickly nodded. Why? Why do you all want me dead? You want me to die, but I want to live well. I'm going to kill all of you. The god-eating vine roared fiercely. However, no one took its roar seriously. Instead, they watched as it dug its own grave. They couldn't help but gloat in their hearts. What a pitiful man-eating vine. He originally thought that he had picked a soft persimmon, but who knew that he had picked a hard bone? Did Bing Yao have a face that could deceive the public? Damn woman, do you want to save this man in my hands? If you want to, you can exchange it with the little beast in your arms. The god-eating vine said, Dante. When the weak little beast heard the god-eating vine's words, it hurriedly said nervously. However, it was too embarrassed to ask them not to use its child to exchange for their people. So after only 2 shouts, it stopped making any more sounds. The god-eating vine also didn't allow it to speak and directly threw it from the air to the ground behind it, so that this annoying little beast wouldn't ruin its good plan. What if I say I won't exchange with you? Lung Ruoshu asked curiously. You actually don't care about your friend's life and death for a bastard of unknown origin, haha. The friendship between you humans is nothing more than this. The divine devouring vine said sarcastically. Its face was filled with contempt for Lung Ruoshu. You don't have to worry about our friendship. Just take care of yourself. Lung Ruoshu said with a smile. That damned woman. You really don't want to exchange with me? The god-eating vine said, unwilling to give up. No, Lung Ruoshu was very certain, but the god-eating vine didn't fully believe her words. In the god-eating vine's heart, this woman was just holding on. How could she ignore the life and death of her human friend for a little beast? Don't regret it if you don't exchange with me. The god-eating vine reminded. You're so long-winded. I said I won't trade, so I won't trade. As for the man you caught, if you can really kill him, he'll consider you capable. Lung Ruoshu said impatiently. Do you really think I don't dare to kill him? The god-eating vine roared, and its branches trembled in anger. If you dare to kill me, then kill me. Stop talking nonsense. Lung Ruashua waved her hand as if she was chasing away a fly. Little Shue, how could you do this to me? I'm so sad. Bing Yao's beautiful eyes were filled with tears as she said pitifully. However, his act of pity was ignored by Lung Ruashua. The divine devouring vine's heart ached for him. This woman is so heartless. You'd better follow me in the future. It'll definitely treat you well. The god-eating vine promised. Oh, how are you going to treat me well? Bing Yao asked curiously. It'll suck less of your blood every day so that you can live longer. It'll definitely make you live longer than this detestable little beast. The god-eating vine said with a charitable expression. When everyone heard the man-eating vine's words, they could not help but laugh. After all this, in the man-eating vine's heart, sucking less blood and letting it live longer was already treating it well. Chapter 1237. Self-Destruction 1. Damn it. What are you laughing at? No one is allowed to laugh. The god-devouring vine saw that everyone was grinning from ear to ear and couldn't help but swing its branches in anger, trying to threaten the other party. Unfortunately, it was ignored by Fengde and the others. Man-eating vines. You're too overbearing. We can't even laugh. Fengde said as he held back his laughter. If it wasn't for the fact that he felt that the man-eating vine's words were too laughable, they wouldn't be laughing so happily. No, none of you are allowed to laugh anymore. The divine devouring vine roared and then glared at Bing Yao. Do you want to follow me or not? Hurry up and answer me. I don't want to. Bing Yao replied without even thinking. Why? Didn't I say I would treat you well? You're still not satisfied? Why are all men so greedy? The divine devouring vine heard Bing Yao's words and roared in anger. It's not that men are greedy, but no man can accept your kindness. Bing Yao spoke the truth. Which normal man would be able to accept such kindness? Was it a good thing to suck less blood and live a little longer? Rather than living like that, he might as well kill himself. At least the pain would be less. However, looking at the man-eating vine's crazed appearance, could it have been rejected by the man before? Oh, it was normal to reject it, but it was abnormal to accept it. Why not? I didn't eat you all. What else do you want? The god-eating vine was furious. Why did all the men hurt it like this? It was like that in the past, and it was the same with the one in front of it now. It couldn't understand how it couldn't compare to that hateful little beast. You're being nice to us just because you didn't eat us? Bing Yao said sarcastically. Plants were just plants. How could they understand what true feelings were? The man-eating vine dealt with people based on its instincts. In its heart, men were equivalent to food. However, no man with flesh and blood was willing to be food. What else do you want? The god-eating vine was confused. We want to live with dignity. However, you want to understand what dignity is. In your eyes, everyone can become food. The only difference is whether you allow the food to live longer. Bing Yao said calmly. Right. You're right. Everyone is my food. So I'm the only one who could decide your life and death. I'm going to ask you one last time. Do you want to follow me or not? The god-eating vine didn't want to waste any more time and asked directly. I still have the same 2 words, no? Bing Yao said without hesitation. Damn it. I've already given you the opportunity, but you didn't know how to grasp it. Don't blame me for being merciless. The god-eating vine was very annoyed. Why did all the men not like it? It couldn't understand why no man liked it when it was so beautiful and had a high status in the botanic world. Why? Whatever you want, Bing Yao said without a care. Reading on Maibo XN OVL. Calm, please. You asked for this. After saying that, the divine devouring vine extended its branches towards Bing Yao, who was tied up like a dumpling. If it couldn't get it, it wouldn't let others have the chance to get it. Since you don't want to be its man, then be its food. Eating the man it liked was also one of its greatest pleasures, because only in this way would the man it liked belong to it forever, and no one could take him away. However, as soon as the vine reached Bing Yao, he grabbed it with his bare hands. He flicked it with his divine power, and the vine was broken. How did you break my branches? The god-eating vine looked at its broken branch and said in disbelief, "Aren't they just some dried branches? What can't be shaken?" Bing Yao said with a faint smile, but his eyes were fixed on the branch in his hand, studying it. This branch was slightly different from the other branches because its front end was actually something like a suction cup. There were also sharp spikes on it, but the center of the spikes was empty, forming a tube. It could be seen that this branch was specially used by man-eating vines to suck blood. "Why you let me go?" The god-devouring vine looked at its most important branch being held by Bing Yao for research, and it suddenly became nervous. It was afraid that the man would break the branch it used to suck blood, just like the other branches. Moreover, although it had many branches all over its body, this was the only one it used to eat. If it was broken, it would take hundreds of years to grow back. As a result, it would have to starve for the next hundreds of years. As a divine devouring vine, the most unbearable thing for it was not being able to drink fresh blood. Therefore, it would never tolerate its branch being damaged. "What if I don't? This branch is quite interesting. I really want to cut it open and study it in detail. Do you agree?" Bing Yao asked curiously. "I don't agree. I don't agree." The god-eating vine immediately cried out. "Woo! It would be a ghost if it agreed. That hateful man! What a terrifying man! Why did it think that this man was easy to bully?" Now, it realized that it might have been wrong. "It's not up to you to disagree." Bing Yao laughed coldly and took out a silver dagger from his storage ring. The dagger was extremely sharp, and it gave off a cold air. One look, and one could tell that it was not an ordinary dagger. Bing Yao held the dagger in his hand and gestured on the branch, as if he was choosing a suitable place to cut. This scene frightened the god-eating vine. The branches all over its body trembled, and it used all its strength to pull the branch back from Bing Yao's hand. However, Bing Yao would not give it the chance. Everyone heard a pop sound and saw a 1-foot-long gash on the branch in Bing Yao's hand. Red liquid gushed out, and the divine, eating vine scream was heard. "Arg! How detestable! How detestable! I won't let you go, you're dead." The divine, devouring vine cried out in pain, and the branches on its body trembled even more violently. However, Bing Yao didn't take its threats seriously at all. Chapter 1238, Self-Destruction 2. Bing Yao held the branch that was as thick as a baby's arm tightly in his hand. He started to move the sharp dagger up and down again. Then he found the right position and cut again. Then the god-eating vine scream sounded again. Bing Yao seemed to be addicted to it. He cut here and there, and the people could only hear the man-eating vine's screams never stop. In fact, each scream was louder than the last. The god-devouring vine screamed and cursed. The more it cursed, the more Bing Yao's daggers slashed. When everyone saw this, they couldn't help but feel a few black lines on their foreheads. They couldn't help but secretly sigh. Bing Yao was so terrifying. He actually tortured the man-eating vines like this. Fortunately, they weren't Bing Yao's enemies. If they were in his place, they wouldn't be able to stand it either. Sigh. The pitiful man-eating vines. Why did you have to provoke Bing Yao of all people? Wasn't this just looking for trouble? The fate of the man-eating vines made them believe even more firmly that one could not judge a book by its cover. Despicable humans. After a long while, the god-eating vine was still scolding, but its voice was getting weaker and weaker. Bing Yao seemed to be tired as well. He stopped what he was doing and looked at the man-eating vine with a faint smile. "You'll rest for a while, and we'll continue later. You should rest too. I don't want to have no energy to scold later," Bing Yao suggested with a smile. When the god-eating vine heard Bing Yao's words, it was so angry that it almost fainted. However, it didn't need to rest for a while. This man had too many ways to torture it. If it did not rest up enough, it was afraid that it would be tortured to death. "Woo-woo, this demon. I can't believe you would have this day." Suddenly, a weak voice rang in the divine eating vine's ears. When the divine eating vine heard this voice, it immediately became spirited again. How could it have forgotten about this little beast that deserved to die? With this little beast here, these humans wouldn't dare to kill it. Thinking of this, it couldn't help but feel a little proud. This little beast was quite useful. He could be its food when he was free, and now he could save its life. It seemed that he had made the right decision not to kill the little beast. The god-eating vine's long branch gently rolled back, and the little beast it had thrown behind it was brought to its eyes. Moreover, with the little beast as a protective talisman, it felt a little more relaxed. Detestable human, let go of my blood-sucking vines, or ill kill this little beast. The god-eating vine raised the little beast in front of its eyes and threatened. I say, man-eating vine, you must be mistaken. This little beast has nothing to do with us. Do you think it's useful to use it to threaten us? Bing Yao said, a little speechless. Yup. Man-eating vine, do you have a brain? What does this little beast's life or death have to do with us? If you want to use it to threaten us, you found the wrong person. Fonda also laughed and teased. Oomph. It's that little bastard's mother. I don't believe that you want to save it for that little bastard. The divine devouring vine said confidently. Previously, it had asked that hateful woman for that little vile spawn, but that woman had refused to give it to it. Therefore, it was very certain that the woman would definitely save this hateful little beast for the little vile spawn in her arms. At that time, it would be able to escape, because it was now very sure that it was no match for these humans. Oomph. It was never too late for a gentleman to take revenge. When it had achieved some success in its cultivation, it would naturally come back to seek revenge on these humans. Reading on Maibo XN, OVL. Calm, please. You said it's Xiao Xiao's mommy, so it's Xiao Xiao's mommy? Do you think we're as stupid as you and will believe your words? Lung Roashua mocked calmly. Why don't you believe me? This little beast is the mother of the little bastard in your arms. This is absolutely true. The god-devouring vine couldn't help but roar. It was so angry that it was going crazy. These humans were too difficult to deal with. It had seen many humans in the forest, but this was the first time it had encountered such a difficult one. It was really infuriating. If you don't believe it, you don't believe it. Do you need a reason? Don't think that senior brother will let you off just because you randomly find a little beast to pretend to be Xiao Xiao's mother. Lung Roashua chuckled. After she finished speaking, she lowered her head and asked little Xiao, who was in her arms, Xiao Xiao, the man-eating vine said that the little beast in its hands is your mother. Is it? It's not. Xiao Xiao doesn't have a mother. Xiao Xiao looked up at little beastie with its watery eyes and said softly. However, it couldn't help but think, Mommy, Mother, bear with it. Big sister will save you. Why isn't it? She is your mother. You little bastard, you don't even recognize your own mother. When the divine devouring vine heard Xiao Xiao's words, it roared angrily. It really isn't. Don't try to find a soul-gnawing beast to pretend to be my mother. I'm not that easy to fool. Xiao Xiao pouted her little mouth and said stubbornly, Damn you, you little bastard. Your father died to save you, and your mother suffered because of you. You don't acknowledge them. You really have no conscience. The god-eating vine roared with a pained expression. It's not that I don't recognize it, but I don't even know the soul-gnawing beast you speak of. How do you want me to recognize it? I can't just randomly acknowledge a mother. How can I face my mother who gave birth to me like that? Xiao Xiao said seriously. Quickly tell that little bastard that you're its biological mother. Hurry up and let it recognize you. The god-eating vine saw this and ordered the weak little beast in its hand. Hee. It's right, I'm not its mother, and I won't randomly acknowledge my own child. So, don't waste your time. I won't let you have your wish. The weak little beast said with a strong backbone. It looked at the little white beast in Lung Ruakshu's arms lovingly and prayed in its heart, Child, you have to take good care of yourself. Mother would rather die than let this demon hurt you. To be able to see you once. Mother is already dead without any regrets. Do you believe that I will kill you right now? The god-eating vine was filled with hatred when it saw that it couldn't achieve its goal. It hated the humans who had forced it, but it hated the detestable little beast in its hands even more. All right, go ahead and kill. I've always wanted to accompany Brother Fan. The weak little beast said with a light smile. Now that it saw that its child was living well, it had nothing to worry about. Thus, the threat of the god-eating vine to it was not of much use. Chapter 1239, Self-Destruction 3, You Wish. I won't let you die. Hearing the little beast's words, the god-eating vine recalled the past. Naturally, it would not let the little beast have its way. Oof. You want to go down and accompany Brother Fan? Dream on, even if it meant death. It would not let them be together. I knew it. But even if you die, Brother Fan will not want to see you. The weak little beast provoked the demon on purpose. The Brother Fan that it was talking about was its most beloved partner and also its father. However, he was taken by this demon and was eaten cruelly. It doesn't want to see me, but it also can't see you. Ha ha ha. If I can't get it, then no one else can. The divine devouring vine laughed arrogantly. At this moment, it had even forgotten the threat that these humans posed to it. It only thought of stepping on its love rival. Fonda and the others perked up their ears to listen to the conversation between the man-eating vine and the weak little beast. They all thought to themselves in unison, so that little beast isn't just the man-eating vine's food. There was even some gossip about the emotional entanglement between the two of them. However, weren't man-eating vines plants? Why don't you take a fancy to a little beast? Xiao Xiao's father should also be a beast, right? However, on second thought, if even they wanted to keep the man-eating vines as their exclusive property, it was normal for them to take a fancy to a beast, right? From the looks of it now, the man-eating vines had quite a variety of tastes. They ate everything and could take in anything. The divine devouring vine's smug laughter continued for a long time, and Lung Ruoxue and the others didn't interrupt it. After it was done laughing, Bing Yao said indifferently, Man-eating vine, you've rested enough? Let's continue. Dante, I don't want to continue. How dare you treat me like this? I'm a king of plants. The god-devouring vine heard Bing Yao's words and immediately roared to refuse. Unfortunately, Bing Yao was not moved at all. He directly cut off the front end of the blood-sucking vine in his hand with his dagger. In an instant, more red liquid spurted out and landed on the ground, emitting a foul smell. The divine devouring vine's screams were even louder, deafening to the ears. Fonda and the others couldn't help but cover their ears so that the demonic sound wouldn't pierce through them. At the same time, they couldn't help but resent Bing Yao for letting the man-eating vines out. He should have blocked its mouth first before cutting off its branches. In the next second, Bing Yao seemed to know what Fonda and the others were thinking. As expected, he blocked the man-eating vine's mouth with his ice attribute skill first. Then, he used his dagger to cut the man-eating vine's blood-sucking vines. At this time, the man-eating vine could not make a sound even though it was in pain. When Fonda and the rest saw this, they let go of their hands that were covering their ears and looked at the man-eating vine with sympathy. Poor guy, this is just the beginning. The god-eating vine trembled in pain. Seeing its blood-sucking vine leave its trunk, it was filled with hatred. It wanted to command its vines to attack the detestable man, but it suddenly lost control of its branches. Fortunately, the weak little beast was still tightly bound by it. Otherwise, it would have lost its last bargaining chip. At this moment, it still believed that the detestable little beast would become its protective talisman. As long as the little beast existed, the humans would not kill it. After cutting off a small part of the man-eating vine, Bing Yao threw out a few more ice blades. Whoosh! With a few sounds, the man-eating vine's branches were all broken into several pieces. In the blink of an eye, the originally luxuriant man-eating vines were all cut off, except for the trunk that remained intact. The weak little beast that was bound by the man-eating vines also broke free from the man-eating vine's control and fell to the ground. Seeing this, Lung Ruoxue quickly brought the weak little beast away from the man-eating vine's range so that it would not be used by the man-eating vines to threaten them. Reading on Maibo XN OVL. Calm, please. Woo-woo. When the god-eating vine saw that all of its things had fallen into the hands of a human, it couldn't help but glare at Bing Yao with hatred in its eyes. However, its mouth was sealed, so other than whimpering, it couldn't say a single word. Seeing this, Bing Yao kindly removed the restraint on its mouth, and then smiled and said, "All right, you can say whatever you want to say now. Damned human, return that little beast to me, it's mine." The divine devouring vine shouted crazily, but Lung Ruashua ignored its words. Lung Ruashua bent down to check on the weak little beast's condition. Then, she took out a pill from her bracelet and placed it into the little beast's mouth. After eating the pill, the little beast quickly recovered its strength. Although it was still a little weak, it was much better than its previous sickly appearance. Moreover, because the little beast had lost too much blood for a long time and was malnourished, a small pill was not enough to immediately recover. At this moment, Xiao Xiao, who was in Lung Ruakshu's arms, had already jumped down impatiently and pounced into the arms of the weak little beast. It looked at the adult soul-gnawing beast with tears in its eyes and cried out loudly, "Mother, Xiao Xiao really misses you. My child, my child." The adult soul-gnawing beast hugged Xiao Xiao as tears flowed down its cheeks. It had never thought that its own child would actually recognize it. Initially, it had thought that this child had really forgotten about it. After all, when it had sent its child away, its child had not been born yet. "Mother, he'll take revenge for you." "I won't let that man-eating vine off." Xiao Xiao looked at its mother's extremely weak appearance and said with a heart full of hatred. No wonder it did not see its parents when it was born. It turned out that it had been captured by these man-eating vines. Woo! Damn man-eating vines. They dared to torture its mother. It would make them regret it. No, Dante. Child, you're still too young. You're not a match for the man-eating vines. Don't act rashly. When the adult, soul-gnawing beast heard this, it was so frightened that it hurriedly reminded. "It's okay, big sister will help me," Xiao Xiao said confidently. She even turned around and smiled at Lung Ruashua in an attempt to please her. When Lung Ruashua heard Xiaoxiao's words and saw the way Xiao Xiao was trying to please her, she could not help but laugh. Was this cunning little guy treating her as a fighter? However, it was indeed impossible for her to let this man-eating vine go. It was quite dangerous to have such a disgusting thing in her territory. Forget it. She would just help the little mother and son along the way. However, before Lung Ruashua could do anything, the divine devouring vine, who had personally witnessed the soul-gnawing beast's reunion with its mother, was greatly shocked. It roared loudly in disbelief. "Damn it. Didn't you refuse to admit your relationship with each other? Then what are you looking like now? It's our business what we want to do. Is it any of your business?" Xiao Xiao replied without giving him any face. "Damned vile spawn. I won't let you off, and I won't let you humans off," the god-eating vine said incoherently and angrily. "I say, man-eating vines, you've already said this many times. If you really want to kill us, then do it. Oh, by the way, you're considered to have no hands now, right? I wonder if you have any other way to kill us?" Fonda asked curiously when he heard the man-eating vine's words. "I'm going to die with you." Provoked by Fong Da's words, the divine devouring vine roared in anger. Then it mobilized all its strength and gathered it on the remaining main vine. As the main vine slowly expanded, the divine devouring vine also grew bigger and bigger. Soon, its main stem had doubled in size. When the adult soul-gnawing bee saw this, it quickly shouted, "Be careful, everyone! The god-eating vine is going to self-destruct." When Bing Yao heard the adult soul-eating beast's words, he remained calm and unhurried as he looked at the man-eating vine that was gathering its power. He chuckled and said, "Man-eating vine, you're too slow. Why don't I help you?" "What do you mean by that?" the tall god-eating vine asked condescendingly, its face full of confusion. It really couldn't understand why these people weren't afraid at all when they knew that it was going to self-destruct and die with them. "I despise the fact that you're too slow in self-destructing, so I want to help you," Bing Yao said with a smile. After that, he quickly gathered divine power in his hand and threw it at the main trunk of the man-eating vine. In an instant, the man-eating vine was filled to the brim with the external divine power. It was clearly beyond what it could withstand. In the blink of an eye, the man-eating vine grew several times larger and its human face showed an extremely painful expression. Then, Bing Yao cast another barrier, covering the man-eating vine within. In an instant, everyone heard a loud bang and saw the tall man-eating vine explode violently. The thick main vine was blown into pieces, turning into fragments and falling to the ground. However, after the self-destruction, the man-eating vine did not die completely. After the self-destruction, the man-eating vine turned into a small bud and hid under the debris. It thought that it had hidden well and no one would discover its plan. Little did it know that Lung Ruoxue and the others had long known about its actions. Hence, it was the only one who was pleased with itself and thought that its plan had succeeded. Now, it was only waiting for these abominable humans to leave so that it could find a good place to hide. It had started cultivating again. In this way, it would have the opportunity to regain its human body. Previously, although it had thought of using the method of rebirth to cultivate again, it was reluctant to give up its many years of cultivation. Therefore, it had never had the heart to self-destruct. Now, these humans had forced it to self-destruct, which could be considered as granting it a new life. Speaking of which, it should thank these humans properly, and the way it thanked them was naturally to eat them after it had recultivated. Letting these despicable humans die for him was the highest honor he could give them. As for those two little beasts, he would continue to torture them. If you want the family of three to be reunited, stop dreaming. The God-eating vine isn't dead yet. Don't be fooled by it. It can self-destruct and revive. Seeing that the God-eating vine's self-destruction didn't bring them any danger, the adult spirit-engulfing beast was stunned for a moment before suddenly remembering the God-eating vine's innate ability. Thus, it hurriedly reminded them. When the God-devouring vine, which was hiding under the debris, heard the adult soul-gnawing beast's words, it was so angry that it almost fainted. It couldn't help but curse in its heart. If it had known that the detestable little beast would betray it, it would have taken care of it earlier. However, it believed that those humans would not be able to find it. After all, with so many fragments buried, it would take a lot of effort for those people to find it. As long as it found an opportunity, it would escape. Chapter 1240. Nian 1. However, before the divine devouring vine could be pleased with itself, it heard Lung Ruoxu's voice. It doesn't matter, it can't run away. The divine devouring vine is very cunning. It should be in hiding by now. It won't be easy for us to find it. If it escapes, there will be endless trouble. The adult soul-gnawing beast said worriedly, "There's no need to find it. As long as we burn this place down, it won't be able to escape even if it wants to." Lung Ruoxue laughed evilly. She would not let the man-eating vines have their way and let everyone search this place bit by bit. Therefore, she would use the simplest and most effective method, which was to burn the fragments of the man-eating vines to ashes. She did not believe that the man-eating vines would be able to escape under such circumstances. At the thought of this, Lung Ruoxue took the little fire spirit out of her bracelet. Without waiting for Lung Ruoxue's instructions, the little fire spirit started to set fire. He set fire not only to burn the man-eating vines, but also to purify the land so that it was more suitable for the growth of other plants. After all, the soil here had been almost destroyed by the man-eating vines. Other than vampire plants, other plants would definitely die here. Following the little fire spirit's flame, the fragments of the man-eating vine within the barrier were quickly burned to ashes. The man-eating vine that was hiding under the fragments endured the pain in its body and didn't dare to make sound. Although the flame was very powerful, it was still within the range that it could bear for the time being. After all, it had cultivated for many years, so it still had the ability to bear this. The only hope in its heart now was that the flame could be extinguished as soon as possible. Otherwise, it couldn't guarantee that it wouldn't be discovered by those hateful humans. The little fire spirit seemed to know what the man-eating vine was thinking and quickly retracted its flame. After a moment of silence, it released a slightly golden flame. The level of this flame was obviously higher than the previous one. The flame flew to the ashes, and in the blink of an eye, The ashes of the man-eating vine's fragments turned into a part of the air and evaporated instantly. He couldn't help but cry out when he was burned by the scorching flames. "Arg, it hurts. It hurts so much, you damn human. I won't let you off." The struggling god-eating vine was still clamoring, but no one was moved. Little fire spirit continued to increase the fire, and gradually, the god-eating vine's voice became weaker and weaker until it completely disappeared. However, the little fire spirit was still worried about the god-eating vine. Therefore, it decided to conduct a more thorough purification of the place. Thinking of this, it said to Lung Roashue and the others, "Big sister, all of you go back to your rooms. I'm going to completely purify this place. All right, we'll leave this place first and wait for you outside." After Lung Roashue finished speaking, she temporarily kept the house and led the group out of the mountain stream, leaving the place to the little fire spirit. Once they were outside the mountain stream, Lung Roashue placed the house on an empty plot of land. The group then entered the house and observed the movements in the mountain stream through the light screen. The little fire spirit in the mountain stream had already turned into a huge flame. The flame was shining with a dazzling golden light and flickered with a heart-palpitating aura. The little fire spirit transformed into its original form and flew around the mountain stream. Wherever it went, a sea of fire would be set ablaze. All the living creatures in the mountain stream were purified. The originally dark red soil slowly revealed its original appearance as the little fire spirit's flames burned it. The air here also gradually recovered its clarity. After a long time, the little fire spirit finished its purification and transformed back into a chubby, 1-year-old baby. It bounced back into the house and pounced into Lung Roakshu's arms. "Sister, it's done." The little fire spirit asked for credit with excitement. Reading on Maibo XN OVL. "Calm, please. Well done." Lung Roashua patted the little fire spirit's head and praised it. "Little fire spirit, are you sure that the man-eating vine is dead?" Fonda asked curiously. "He can't be more dead, don't worry. It's no longer suitable for plants like man-eating vines to live there, so there shouldn't be any more blood-sucking creatures in the nightmare forest." The little fire spirit said with absolute certainty. "I don't think the god-eating vine will die so easily, so it's best to confirm it." The adult soul-eating beast suggested in a low voice. It had been poisoned by the god-eating vine for many years, so it could be said that it hated and feared the god-eating vine. The influence of the god-eating vine was deeply rooted in its heart, so it wasn't easy to make it believe that the god-eating vine was really gone. "You don't believe in my ability?" When the little fire spirit heard the adult soul-gnawing beast's words, it pouted its little mouth and said unhappily, "No, I just wanted you to confirm it. The divine devouring vine is very cunning, and I'm afraid it will trick us." The adult soul-gnawing beast said carefully. Facing the aggressive little fire spirit, it felt nervous for some reason. "All right then, big sister, since this little soul-gnawing beast is so afraid of the man-eating vines, it'll have to trouble you to purify it again." The little fire spirit said with a smile. "AI, all right." Lung Roashuen nodded in response. She then released a small flame and allowed it to fly out of the house. The adult soul-gnawing beast looked at the smug little flame with question marks all over its face. It could not help but guess in its heart, where was this little flame going? Why did he run out by himself? However, when it saw what the little flame did through the light screen, it was so shocked that it couldn't speak. Oh my God, that little flame was really too terrifying. Such a small flame could actually release such a great power. In just a moment, the entire mountain stream had turned into a sea of fire. Moreover, the temperature of the flame was several times higher than the golden flame released by the little fire spirit. This time, the mountain stream was completely clean without a trace of impurities. Furthermore, after being purified by Lung Roakshu's flames, the air in the mountain stream was fresher than anywhere else in the forest. The concentration of spiritual energy had also increased by quite a bit. This place had suddenly turned from a filthy place to the most suitable place to live. Many young plants were growing at a speed that could be seen with the naked eye. When everyone saw this, their eyes widened in disbelief. No one had expected that Lung Ruakshu's flames could actually promote the growth of plants. This was too unbelievable. Lung Ruashue could tell what they were thinking, but she didn't bother explaining. In reality, it wasn't her flames that could promote the growth of plants. It was the place that had undergone some evolution after being purified by her flames. Hence, the growth rate of the plants had also increased. Chapter 1241. Year 2. After settling the matter of the man-eating vines, Lung Ruashue and the rest returned to their residence. Naturally, the mother and son, soul-eating beast, followed them back to their residence. The adult soul-gnawing beast told Lung Ruashue that its name was Yuqing. According to Yuqing, this name was given to it by little Xiao's father, who was also the brother fan it was referring to. As for Xiao's father, he wasn't a soul-gnawing beast, but an extremely rare plant. When the two of them met and fell in love, it caused the jealousy of the god Devouring Vine, which had always loved Xiao's father. The god Devouring Vine was cunning by nature and used Xiao's pregnant body as bait. Xiao's father was controlled by the god Devouring Vine, and in the end, in order to save the mother and son, he was killed by the god Devouring Vine and became its food. However, even so, the mother and son still couldn't escape the god Eating Vine's pursuit. After it laid an egg in advance, it hid Xiao, who was not yet born. It threw itself into the trap and became the god Eating Vine's exclusive domain. It was because of this that Xiao was able to escape. As for what happened after that, even if Yuqing didn't explain it clearly, Lung Ruashue and the rest understood. After that, Lung Ruashue instructed Feng De to arrange a place for Yuqing to stay and recuperate. As for where Yuqing and her son wanted to go after they recovered, it was up to them. After all, she didn't think that Yuqing and her son would want to stay in this forest. This place had bad memories for them. Half a month later, the Moon Eye's injuries had already been more or less healed, and its strength had also recovered. Its true strength was that of a Class 3 sacred beast. Lung Ruashue looked at the large and small child standing in front of her. Their snow-white and glossy fur proved that their moon eyes had fully recovered. At this moment, this mother and son were here to thank her. Miss Lung, thank you for saving my life. If it wasn't for you guys, I'm afraid I wouldn't have been able to see Xiao in this lifetime. Yuqing looked at Xiao with tears in her beautiful eyes and said gently, "You're welcome. We all like Xiao very much, and you're its mother. Saving you was as easy as lifting a finger. Moreover, this is my territory now. I won't allow dangerous plants like the man-eating vines to exist." Lung Ruashue replied honestly, "No matter what, you guys saved my life. I should thank you." The Moon Eye said stubbornly. It didn't like to owe others favors, but now it seemed that it couldn't pay off the favor it owed this human. Not only did he help it take care of Xiao, but he even saved it. If it didn't repay such a great favor, it would feel guilty. "Oh, how do you want to thank us?" Lung Ruashue chuckled as she teased. "I'm willing to recognize you as my master and follow you forever." The Moon Eye thought for a moment. This was the only method it could think of at the moment. The soul-gnawing beast's talent was extremely heaven-defying, so it believed that it would be of use to Lung Ruashue. "Are you sure? As far as I know, there aren't many soul-gnawing beasts, and they're all very proud. If you acknowledge a human as your master, how are you going to explain it to your own clan? Would they agree to it?" Lung Ruashue indifferently reminded. Reading on Maibo XN OVL. "Come, please. We soul-gnawing beasts know how to repay kindness. If they knew that you've done us a favor, they would agree." Yuqing said with certainty after thinking for a moment. "All right, then. You can recognize me as your master." Lung Ruashue nodded. There was no reason for her to reject a precious beast that was willing to offer itself to her. Furthermore, the soul-gnawing beast was indeed very useful to them. Moreover, Everyone liked Xiao Xiao, so she naturally went with the flow and agreed. After that, Yu Qing and her son acknowledged Leng Ruoxue as their master and became a part of Leng Ruoxue's family. After Ziyu found out that Yu Qing and her son had already acknowledged her as their master, she pestered Leng Ruoxue to do so. Leng Ruoxue didn't know whether to laugh or cry. After all, in her heart, Ziyu was different from Beastie. Although he was a half-orc, she had always treated Ziyu as a human. A human wanting to sign a soul contract with her was a strange feeling. However, in the end, Ziyu still got her way, because Ziyu had actually learned to act first and report later, taking the initiative to acknowledge her as her master. In the days that followed, Leng Ruoxue split Fonda and the rest into 3 groups and sent them out. The purpose of sending them out was naturally to allow them to gain more experience in the god world. As for Leng Ruoxue herself, she looked at the empty house and chose to enter closed-door cultivation with the demon, leaving the house to Yu Qing and Ziyu. Master Ning and the Great Elder went back to the divine world for the time being. After all, they had been out for a long time, and they couldn't stay on the divine land forever. They had to go back to the divine world to take a look. Bing Yao went with them, ready to find out where her junior brother was. However, no one had expected that this farewell would actually last for 3 years. 3 years later, Yu Qing and Ziyu were sitting together in the garden, watching Xiao Xiao play happily not far away. Although Xiao Xiao was still an infant in terms of the age of the soul-gnawing beast, it was close to maturity after consuming so many spirit fruits and elixirs from Leng Ruoxue. Xiao Xiao was tired from playing, so she laid on Yu Jing's legs to rest. However, her big, watery eyes could not help but steal glances at Leng Ruoxue's tightly shut room. Why hasn't Big Sister come out yet? I'm starting to miss her. Xiao Xiao pouted and complained. Woo! Other than its mother, the only one accompanying it at home was Uncle Ziyu. It had been so long, but the others had not returned. Master is in seclusion. Xiao Xiao, be good. Otherwise, Master won't like you anymore when he comes out. Yu Qing threatened. In the past 3 years, whenever Xiao Xiao was disobedient, she would use her master to scare Xiao Xiao. And it worked every time. I've always been a good girl, Xiao Xiao said with a little grievance. Boo-hoo. Mommy always bullies me and even uses Big Sister to threaten me. In fact, it knows very well that it's so cute. How can Big Sister not like it? At the side, Ziyu listened to the conversation between the mother and son and couldn't help but smile a little. However, the young miss and the others had indeed not appeared for a long time, and he was somewhat missing them. In the past 3 years, the young miss and Commander Yi had been in seclusion. Although Fonda and the others often sent back news, they had not returned for 3 years. Chapter 1242, Year 3. Recently, the news that Fonda and the others sent back was getting less and less. He didn't know the reason. When he thought about it, he couldn't help but worry. Although the divine continent was much safer than the divine world, it was still dangerous. He hoped that he was overthinking. Ziyu, are you worried about Fonda and the others? Yu Qing looked at Ziyu, who had suddenly become depressed, and asked. Yup, it's been a month since they've sent back any news. This is a little abnormal. Ziyu expressed her concern. In fact, even though Fonda and the others were away from home, they would send back news every 10 days. Sometimes they would talk about their adventures, and sometimes they would report the situation in the Divine Land. It was abnormal for there to be no news for a month. They had split into 3 teams and went in different directions. Why did they stop sending messages at the same time? He really couldn't figure it out. Are you thinking too much? I think you should believe in their strength. Master will not let them be in danger. The Moon Eye consoled. I hope I'm just overthinking. Ziyu said with a sigh. What are you overthinking? All of a sudden, a gentle female voice entered the ears of the 2 humans and 1 beast. 3 pairs of eyes immediately turned towards the direction of the voice and saw Leng Ruoxue and the demon looking at them from a distance with a smile. Miss, Master, Sister, Ziyu, Yu Qing, and Xiao Xiao shouted in unison. Then, they saw a flash of white lightning flying towards Lung Ruoshu. Lung Ruoshu had gently caressed Xiao Xiao, who had pounced into her arms. She smiled faintly at Yuqing and Ziyu and said, "What happened? Miss, it's like this. Fengde and the others have not sent back any news for a month, so I'm a little worried about their safety." Ziyu explained. He knew that this kind of thing couldn't be hidden from the young miss. Since she had already come out of seclusion, she would naturally know about this. "Oh, don't worry, their lives won't be in danger. Perhaps something delayed them." Lung Ruoshua smiled as she consoled them. Before she sent Fengde and the rest out, she had specially left behind their jade slips of life. Now that the jade slips were intact, it meant that they were still safe. "That's good." Ziyu nodded. He looked at his young lattice cultivation and realized that Lung Ruoshua was still an advanced beginner deity. He couldn't help but feel a little strange. Reading on Maibo XN, OVL. "Calm, please. Miss had been in seclusion for 3 years. Could it be that she still hadn't broken through?" He couldn't help but guess. "You guys wait for me. I'll advance first." Lung Ruoshua, who knew what Ziyu was thinking, laughed evilly. After 3 years of closed-door cultivation, she could have advanced a long time ago. However, the spiritual energy in the bracelet was too rich, so she absorbed it a little too much and forgot herself. Moreover, after she was able to advance, she refined a lot of medicinal pills in the space. Therefore, she only came out of the bracelet today. She had just walked into the garden with the demon when she heard Ziyes' words. Thus, after a little comfort, she had the time to advance. She found a place in the garden and sat down cross-legged. Lung Ruoshua then took out all her spiritual beasts from her bracelet and prepared to advance. Following the descent of the laws of heaven and earth, Lung Ruoshua had also advanced from early high-rank deity to mid-rank deity. Her spirit beasts had also advanced in rank. Baisu, Mei, and Fengzhan had advanced 2 ranks at the same time. Baisu had become a rank 6 sacred beast, and his strength was roughly equivalent to that of a god-tier master. Mei was a rank 4 sacred beast, and Fengzhan was a rank 5 sacred beast. As for the old phoenixes who had become more experienced, they had all advanced a rank and became 5th-level sacred beasts. However, they were originally the strongest, but a little white tiger like Baisu had caught up to them and surpassed them. This made them feel somewhat unhappy, but it also stimulated their fighting spirit, making them determined to work hard in cultivation and restore their former glory. As for Baby and the other beasts, because they usually didn't like to cultivate, their strength was still the lowest. Moreover, they had only advanced by 1 rank, and now they were all second-class sacred beasts. However, they were simple-minded and didn't feel that their low strength was something to be ashamed of, because they were best at group attacks. As Ziyu, Yuqing, and Xiao Xiao had acknowledged Lung Ruoshua as their master, Lung Ruoxua's advancement had naturally brought them endless benefits. Even though the 2 of them had not been able to advance, Xiao Xiao had received the greatest benefits, because Xiao Xiao had actually become an adult. However, the adult Xiao did not grow much. She was still small, but she looked cuter and more likable. After Shui had become an advanced mid-level deity, the freak had also raised his own strength to an advanced level deity. Lung Ruoshua was rather displeased with his actions. "Evildoer, you're such a bully." Lung Ruoshua pouted her pink lips and said with a hint of dissatisfaction. She had been trying her best to catch up to the evildoer, but who knew that the evildoer was still an entire level higher than her? "Shui, I can only protect you if I am stronger than you. My current strength is considered high in the divine mainland. Unless it's someone from the divine realm, I don't think anyone would dare to have any ideas about you." The demon hugged Shui in his arms and explained calmly, "Oh, do you think that there's still someone who would dare to have designs on me?" Lung Ruoshua raised her brows slightly and asked indifferently. 3 years ago, she had shown her might to the Yao family, causing many powers to fear them like a tiger. They couldn't even wait to hide, so who else would dare to court death? Therefore, she deeply believed that this was clearly the evil male chauvinist's act. In fact, she didn't mind protecting this evil man, hee. Then I'm afraid that someone will have ideas about me. This should be fine, right? The demon said helplessly. Yes, yes, beauty. Don't be afraid. It'll protect you. Lung Ruashua caressed her beautiful face as she ate her tofu. Schwer, is my soft tofu delicious? The demon asked with a smile. It's passable. Lung Ruashua laughed evilly. Just passable? That won't do. I have to make you satisfied. After the demon finished speaking, he picked up Schwer by the waist and went straight back to his room. Seeing her devilish big brother carry her big sister away, Xiaoxiao's face was full of question marks. She asked in confusion, What's devilish big brother doing hugging big sister? They've gone to play. Yu Qing said with a red face. Play? I want to go play too. Xiao Xiao said immediately when she heard that there was fun. You can't go. It's not suitable for children. Yu Qing was very embarrassed and tried to stop him. Although Xiao Xiao was already considered an adult, it was still a child in terms of mentality. Therefore, it was not appropriate to let it know about these adult matters. She couldn't help but think to herself. Actually, she was overthinking things. The reason why the evildoer and Lung Ruashue went back to their room was not what she had thought. At least, it was not as deep as she had thought. In the room, the demon sat by the bed and put Lung Ruashue down. He then carried her to sit on his lap and said teasingly, Schwer, they must be thinking nonsense now. That's also because you gave them the chance to let their thoughts run wild. Lung Ruashue said helplessly, how could I? It's obvious that they have impure thoughts. In fact, we are very rule-abiding. The demon laughed evilly. All right then, what's your purpose in carrying me into the room, you rule-abiding demon? Lung Ruashue asked knowingly. I also want to take advantage of you, but I don't want to be seen by others. After the evildoer finished speaking, he immediately kissed Lung Ruakshu's alluring pink lips. When they left the room again, it was already 2 hours later. Such a long time had further confirmed Yu Qing's guess, so she looked at the two of them with an ambiguous gaze. However, Lung Ruashue and the demon didn't intend to explain anything. After all, this kind of thing would only make things worse. Hence, they remained calm and didn't bother to explain. Sitting on a stone chair in the garden, Lung Ruashue turned to Ziyu and Yu Qing and said, We'll go down the mountain in a while. When the two of them heard Lung Ruakshu's words, they were stunned and looked at her in confusion. In the end, it was Ziyu who could not help but ask, Miss, where are we going? Go to Yanbei City and find Yin Koen. It had been 3 years since they last met, and she wondered what Yanbei City looked like now. Although the 5 small cities surrounding the Nightmare Forest were not big, they could be seen as her eyes. She had previously instructed Yin Koen to pay attention to the collection of information from various parties on the continent. Therefore, regarding the matter of Fengde and the others breaking off contact, she might be able to get some clues from Yin Koen. Miss, should we go too? Ziyu asked with some uncertainty. What's wrong? You don't want to leave the mountain? Lung Ruashue asked with a faint smile. For the past 3 years, Ziyu and Yu Qing had been taking on the role of a housekeeper. She thought that the two of them had gotten tired of it and wanted to go out for a walk. Could she have been wrong? Don't we need to leave someone to look after the house? Ziyu asked. No need. There's a defensive formation. Outsiders can't get in. Lung Ruashue said confidently. If someone really barged in, they would only be met with death. Then let's go and pack up. Ziyu and Yu Qing hurriedly said as they stood up and walked towards their respective rooms. After a short while, the two of them came back with some embarrassment. They had forgotten that their things were all in their storage rings, so there was no need to pack. Let's go. Lung Ruashue moved all the beasts lying in the garden in her bangle and smiled at the two who were blushing in embarrassment. After that, the 4 of them, along with Xiao Xiao, who was in Yu Jing's arms, went down the mountain and out of the Nightmare Forest, heading straight for Yanbei City. Yanbei City, which she had not been to for 3 years, was even more prosperous than she had imagined. The number of people on the streets was almost double that of the last time she had been here. Furthermore, every inn was packed to the brim. Seeing the good business of each shop, Lung Ruoxue felt happy for them from the bottom of her heart. After all, these people who lived here were the citizens of her territory. Therefore, she naturally hoped to see them lead a rich life. This way, their sense of belonging to Yin Bay City would be even stronger. They would also consciously protect the reputation of Northern Yin City. After observing for a while on the streets, Lung Ruoxue, the 4 humans and 1 beast headed straight for the city lord's residence. Chapter 1243 Nian Shuem Mountain 1. When they arrived at the city lord's mansion, the moment the housekeeper saw Lung Ruoxue and the rest, he immediately invited them into the living room with great respect. Although he had only taken up this position 3 years ago, he had followed the city lord into the mountains a few times. Hence, he was very clear about the mastermind behind the scenes. Furthermore, the city lord had repeatedly reminded him to treat Lung Ruoxue and the others with a good attitude and not to show any disrespect. Is the city lord in the mansion? Lung Ruoxue asked with a smile as she followed the butler into the garden of the city lord's mansion. Yes, but the city lord is discussing something with his aides. I'm afraid Miss Lung will have to wait for a while. If Miss Lung is in a hurry to see the city lord, he'll go and report it now. The butler hesitated before asking Lung Ruoxue. I'm not in a hurry. Let him come to see me after he's finished discussing things. Lung Ruoxue said with a smile. Yes, Miss Lung. The city lord has specially prepared this residence for you. Are you satisfied with it? After the butler brought Lung Ruoxue and the rest to their residence, he asked carefully. The city lord had been to the mountain several times, so he paid special attention to the appearance of the Lung family's main residence. Therefore, after he came back, he ordered the skilled craftsmen to build the fallen swallow residence according to the layout of the Lung family's residence. Of course, there were still some differences between this place and the Lung family's main residence, but they were generally similar. I'm very satisfied. Your city lord is very thoughtful. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes casually swept across as she smiled. It's good that Miss Lung is satisfied. If there's nothing else, I won't disturb Miss Lung any further. If you have any needs, you can inform the guards outside the Fallen Swallow residence. They will serve you. The butler reminded them and left the house. He knew that Lung Ruoxue and the rest did not like to be disturbed, so he did not ask the servants to stay. Ziyu, Yu Qing, find your own rooms, Lung Ruoxue said as she sat down on a stone chair in the courtyard. Yes. Miss, how many days do we plan to stay here? Ziyu asked curiously. It depends on the situation, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. The 4 people and 1 beast then sat in the courtyard and chatted. After a while, they saw Yin Kuan running in from outside. Master, you're here. Seeing Lung Ruoxue and the rest, Yin Kuan was excited. We've finished our discussion. Lung Ruoxue chuckled as she asked. Reading on Maibo XN OVL. Come, please. Yes, I didn't know that Master was coming, so I was delayed by other matters. I hope Master can forgive me, Yin Kuan said in a reverent manner. It's okay, Yin Kuan. Since you've recognized me as your master, I won't treat you as an outsider. So, in front of me, you can be as casual as Fengde and the others. Lung Ruoxue reminded him. She could see Yin Kun's restraint. She had always been tolerant of her subordinates. Therefore, she naturally did not want a person who was cautious in everything in front of her. Yes, Master, Yin Kuan nodded in response. Then he asked curiously, hasn't Master been in seclusion? May I know why you're coming down the mountain? Yin Kuan, Fengde, and the others haven't sent back any news for a month. That's why I came to you. I want to know if there's anything important happening on the continent recently. Lung Ruoxue asked directly. Master, Fengde, and the others haven't sent back any news for a month. They might have been delayed by something. As for the important matter, I heard that a secret realm has appeared in the ancient snow mountain. Many people have gone there to explore, but we can't confirm whether the news is true or not. Yin Kuan said after thinking for a while. When Fengde and the others left the Nightmare Forest to train, his son Yin Tao had also followed them. Therefore, he was very concerned about the whereabouts of Fengde and the others. However, Yin Tao's life jade slip was still intact, so he believed that everyone should have been entangled by something. A secret realm has appeared in the 10,000-year Snow Mountain. When did this happen? Lung Ruoxue asked with a slight frown. About a month ago, the appearance of this secret realm was very sudden. It was spread from a small force. So as soon as the news was spread, many forces rushed there, but what is it like there? No one knows if it's dangerous or not. Yin Kuan told him everything he knew. It's been a month. No one knows what it looks like there? Lung Ruoxue asked uncertainly. This was too unbelievable. According to common sense, the news should have been sent back to the major forces after such a long time. How could no one know about the situation there? No one knows. According to the information I've received, none of the forces that went in to explore have come out of the secret realm so far. Therefore, there is naturally no news back. Yin Kuan explained. Master, do you think Fengde and the others have gone to the 10,000 years old Snow Mountain? Yin Kuan asked after thinking for a while. Miss Fengde and the others said that they wanted to go to the Snow Mountain. So, they're most likely in the secret realm. Ziyu suddenly remembered that Fengde had once sent back a message saying that when the weather was warmer, he wanted to go to the 10,000 years old Snow Mountain to take a look. However, at that time, he had clearly told Fengde and the others not to go there. With their strength, they wouldn't be able to last a few days there. Now that she thought about it, Fengde and the others didn't take his words to heart at all, or they were attracted by the secret realm that had appeared out of thin air. Oh, Yin Kuan, don't the other powers have any information about that secret realm? Lung Ruoxue confirmed. No, the Ning family and Qi family contacted me a few days ago to ask about the situation of the Snowy Mountain secret realm. It seems that they know nothing about it. Yin Kuan said. Did they send people to the Snowy Mountain secret realm? Lung Ruoxue asked again. Yes, Ning Xiao was the one who led the group to the Ning family, while Qi Rui was the one who led the group to the Qi family. Yin Kuan quickly said. Qi Rui also went. What is this Qi family head trying to do? Lung Ruoxue couldn't understand. Qi Rui was the young master of the Qi clan on the godly mainland. He was also the future clan head of the Qi clan's bloodline. The Qi clan's internal purge had stabilized his position. Now that an unknown secret realm had suddenly appeared, the Qi clan had actually sent him out. Weren't they afraid that something would happen to him in the secret realm? Or could it be that the Qi family had a new young master candidate, so Qi Rui had become a stumbling block and a dispensable abandoned child? Chapter 1244, Nianshui Mountain 2. I heard that the main Qi family sent a genius to the divine mainland, so Yin Kuan didn't finish his sentence. However, he believed that his master would understand what he meant. In fact, this kind of thing was very common in big families. A genius? How much of a genius is he? Lung Ruoxue asked with a sneer. Although Qi Rui wasn't considered a genius, he was still her friend. Hence, after hearing Yin Kun's words, she felt a little unhappy. It seemed like her guess was correct. Qi Rui had indeed become someone's stumbling block. I heard that he's a direct descendant of the main family. He seems to be in his early 20s, but he's already a mid-tier deity. His potential is above young Master Chies, and he grew up in the divine world. Yin Kuan said, You mean, that person is very favored in the main family? Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. She understood Yin Kun's meaning after hearing his words. Under normal circumstances, the divine realm was not suitable for deities below the deity realm to live in. However, there was an exception that could only be done by a hierarch. If a clan had a hierarch, then under normal circumstances, the geniuses of the clan wouldn't need to be sent to the divine mainland. They would be arranged to cultivate and live in the barriers set up by the hierarch until they reached adulthood. This way, they would also receive better guidance from their elders. Their natural status and starting point would be much higher than the average clan's descendants, and they would definitely be considered the core of the clan. If the genius of the Qi family mentioned by Yin Kuan was also such a core member, then he would be a great threat to Qi Rui. However, she still couldn't figure it out. Would the Chi family's head be willing to send a core member to become the future head of the family? Or could it be that the future head of the godly mainland was just a stepping stone for the future position of the main family's direct descendant? If that was the case, what would happen to Chi Rue? Master, I heard that he's one of the juniors that the Chi family's head likes very much. Yin Kuan said. Oh, Lung Roashue replied indifferently and immediately instructed, Yin Kuan, contact the Ning and Chi families for me and see what's the situation on their side. Yes, yes, Yin Kuan replied. Then he turned around and left. After Yin Kuan left, the demon chuckled and said, Shui-er, are you planning to help Chi Rue? This is the Chi family's business. I won't interfere. However, if that Chi family genius wants to hurt my friend, I won't sit by and do nothing. Lung Ruashua chuckled. Hee, it's Chi Rui's good fortune to know you. The demon said, Miss, although the Chi clan genius that Yin Kuan mentioned is a direct descendant of the Chi clan and grew up in the divine realm, this doesn't mean that he's really doted on by the Chi clan. You should know that in the super clans like the 8 great divine regions, there are many geniuses with extremely high aptitudes. True geniuses would never be willing to come to the divine mainland to be the head of the clan. There's no need to come to the godly mainland to fight for the position of head of the Chi family. So, I'm guessing that this isn't the Chi family's head's intention. Ziyu thought for a while and analyzed. And you're right. That so-called genius is probably trying to pull the tiger's skin and pull the flag. However, the Chi clan will place great importance on his identity. Lung Ruashue understood. Otherwise, Chi Rue wouldn't have been sent to the unknown, snowy mountain secret realm. Then what does Miss plan to do? Ziyu asked curiously. He had met Chi Rue a few times and had a good impression of that little fellow. So, if he could help Chi Rue, he was willing to do so. Visit myboxnovel.com to read, please. It's better if we don't interfere in other people's affairs. Otherwise, the head of the Chi family will blame us for being meddlesome. Lung Ruashua smiled evilly and calmly. Ziyu was speechless and couldn't help but think to herself, other people might be afraid of the master of the Chi family, but you're not even afraid of the master of the Ning family, so why would you be afraid? Ha ha ha. Lung Ruashua looked at Ziyu's expression and couldn't help but laugh. Miss, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. Seeing that she was being teased, Ziyu pretended to be angry and said, after she finished speaking, she even turned her head. Demon, Ziyu said she's ignoring me. Lung Ruashua tugged at the evildoer's arm and said coquettishly, It's okay, I'm fine with you. The demon said indifferently, You guys are so mushy. Ziyu couldn't bear to listen any longer and immediately went back to her room to hide. When Yuqing saw this, she also stood up and left. In an instant, only Lung Ruashue and the demon were left in the courtyard. Without the third wheel, evildoer was more than happy. After staying in the city lord's mansion for a few days, the news of the Ning and Chi families had also come back. In the living room of the fallen swallow residence, Yin Kuan was sitting opposite Lung Ruashue with a respectful look on his face. He was telling her about the replies from the Ning and Chi families. Miss, I'm sure now that there's been no news from the people the Chi and Ning family sent out. Moreover, both families want to send another group of people into the snow mountain. They wanted to ask you through me if you're interested in going with them. Yin Kuan said softly, Oh, since they want to enter the snow mountain with me, then let's gather in Ning City. Lung Ruashua said after some thought. Peace City was the closest to the 10,000-year-old snow mountain, and the two places were in the same direction. Hence, it was the most suitable place to meet. Then I'll go and reply to the Chi family and the Ning family now. Yin Kuan left the living room after he finished speaking. 3 days later, Lung Ruashue and the others set off for Peace City. Yin Kuan had wanted to follow them, but he was suddenly held back by many affairs in Yanbei City. He was unable to split his attention. Meanwhile, Lung Ruashue and the rest sat on the back of the little peacock. After flying for close to 10 days, they finally arrived at their destination. The Ning family had calculated the time, So when Lung Ruoxue and the others arrived at the city gate, they met an elder of the Ning family who had come to welcome them. They followed the elder and temporarily stayed in the Ning family. In the living room of the Ning family, Ning Fei led Lung Ruoxue and the others to the main seats, while he stood in front of them respectfully, not knowing what to do. Master Ning, what's wrong? If you have anything to say, then say it. Lung Ruoxue looked at Ning Fei, who seemed to be panicking, and asked in confusion. Chapter 1245 Nianshui Mountain 3 Miss Lung, 3 days ago, 5 people from our Ning family died in the team that went to the 10,000-year snow mountain. 2 of them were our Ning family's elders. Ning Fei said gloomily. He had been depressed about this for a few days. However, he believed that Lung Ruoxue and the others did not know about this news. What about the Qi clan? Lung Ruoxue asked calmly. The Qi family lost more people than our Ning family, and I heard that all the major forces have also suffered casualties. However, no one knows how they died. Ning Fei said with a gloomy face. Oh, what's Master Ning's plan? Lung Ruoxue asked indifferently. I don't know. He'll listen to Miss Lung's arrangements. Ning Fei said helplessly. He had planned to send another group of people to the snow mountain, and he had already decided who to send. However, since they knew that going to the snow mountain would be life-threatening, those people had all come up with all kinds of excuses to avoid it. Even the elder who had planned to go to the snow mountain had started to pretend to be sick, which made him very annoyed. I will definitely go to the snow mountain. If you still want to go, then come with us. If you don't want to go, I won't force you. Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes swept across the other elders present as she spoke indifferently. Miss Lung, if we can't get away, can you take care of the rest of the Ning family after you go to the snow mountain? At this time, an elder couldn't help but speak up. He was one of the elders who was supposed to go this time. However, after knowing that all the major forces had suffered losses, they didn't really want to go. Do you think my master is your Ning family's free bodyguard? If you want to save the Ning family, you'll have to do it yourself. Otherwise, even if the Ning family all die, it's not my master's business. When Yu Qing heard the elder's words, he sneered. A human as timid as a mouse, and the Ning family of the 8 great divine regions. If she were Master Ning, she would have strangled them to death if she knew that there were such people in the Ning family who were afraid of death. It was a waste of food to keep them alive. How can it not be your master's business? She's the goddaughter of our family's ancestor, so our Ning family's matters are naturally her matters. The elder quibbled. Oh, really? Do you dare to say this in front of your Ning family's old ancestor? If he has the same thoughts as you, then I really feel bad for my master. Yu Qing said in disdain. Although Master had recognized a godfather, she had never thought that she would get any benefits from Master Ning, and Master Ning naturally had never thought of using her master as a fighter. Therefore, the Ning family had thought too much. Master Ning was Master Ning, and their Ning family was the Ning family. There was no relationship at all. If there was really something, Master could take care of it. However, if the Ning family took it for granted, she would be the first one to disagree. Hearing Yu Qing's aggressive words, the elder didn't dare to say anything more. Ning Fei also knew that his elder's words were a bit too much, so he couldn't help but apologize. Miss Lung, I'm sorry. The 11th elder was a little impatient, so he spoke without thinking. Please don't take it to heart. Our Ning family will still send people to go with you to the snow mountain. Yes, Miss Lung. I'll personally lead the team for the Ning family this time. The Ning family's grand elder, who had been silent the entire time, spoke. As soon as the first elder said that, all the Nings were surprised. None of them had thought that the first elder would go there in person. It was all because of the first elder's support that Ning Fei could be the master of the Nings. If the first elder was in the snow mountain, then the Nings would be in chaos again. However, the people of the Ning family only dared to think this in their hearts. No one dared to say it out loud. Great elder, he'll go. You stay in the Ning family. Ning Fei quickly said after hearing first elder's words. First elder's prestige in the Ning family was much higher than his, so he could not let First Elder take the risk. I'm already so old, and you, a junior, still want to compete with me? Can't you let me go out and see the world? There weren't many opportunities to explore like this. You guys have to grasp this opportunity. The Great Elder said to the Ning family present with a smile, implying that someone would go with him. In the end, the facts proved that the Great Elder was smart and insidious. The people of the Ning family that he took with him to the Snow Mountain all had some opinions about Ning Fei, and they even didn't want him to be the master of the family. After he took these people away, even if he had an accident in the Snow Mountain, these people would probably not come back alive. In this way, Ning Fei's position as the master of the family was naturally stable. After that, the Qi clan's group arrived. Unfortunately, the Qi clan's leader was the genius from the main family that Yin Kuan had mentioned. The Qi family's genius was in his early 20s. He was very handsome, but the arrogance on his face was very annoying. The subordinates and beautiful maidservants that followed him around almost made Lung Ruoxue and the others think that this young master was going to the Snow Mountain for a holiday. After the three teams met up, they went together to the 10,000-year-old Snow Mountain not far from Ning City. Out of the three families, Lung Ruoxue had brought the least number of people with her. As such, the subordinates and beautiful maidservants of the Qi family's genius all looked down on them, thinking that they were a subsidiary family of the Ning family and were riding on the Ning family's coattails. Thus, they looked at them with contempt. The Ning family knew Lung Ruoxu's low-profile character well, so naturally, no one would explain for her. Similarly, most of the Qi family members who had followed the Qi family's genius to the Snowy Mountain were not very clear about the identity of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Hence, they were the most unremarkable and the most neglected group of people. A day after they set off, in the evening, everyone chose a flat area as their camp for the night. At first, Lung Ruoxue wanted to take out her house, but seeing that the Qi clan's genius was still living in a tent, she didn't want to be too ostentatious and used a tent as well. However, she wouldn't mistreat herself when it came to food. Yu Jing and Zi Yu were also fed up, and they definitely wouldn't be able to stand eating dry food. From their storage rings, Yu Qing and Zi Yu took out several pots of different sizes. After placing them on the fire that had already been set up, they took out all kinds of ingredients. The two of them worked together, and soon a few hot dishes with good color, fragrance, and taste were ready. After the meal was ready, Zi took out a small table that could seat about 6 people and placed the food on it. On the other hand, Yu Qing received Lung Ruoxue's orders to invite the Ning family's first elder to come and have a meal together. Thanks after the Ning family's first elder arrived and saw the steaming hot food on the table. His face bloomed with a smile, and he praised, "Ha ha! Miss Lung, thanks to you, this old man is blessed to have a good meal. It's a simple meal. Please do as you wish, Great Elder." Lung Ruoxue chuckled. "Hee hee, don't worry, I won't be polite with you." The first elder laughed. Then, the few of them began to eat while talking and laughing. However, they were interrupted by 2 uninvited guests after just a few mouthfuls. "How dare you not invite my young master to have a meal with you?" The 2 beautiful maidservants stood in front of Lung Ruoxue and the rest and said angrily, "Why should we invite your young master here for a meal?" Lung Ruoxue was so angry that she laughed. However, she still did not raise her head and focused on eating the food on her plate. The others did the same. It was obvious that none of them cared about these 2 maidservants, and there was no need for them to care. "My young master is a direct descendant of the Qi family. It's your honor to be able to invite him to have a meal with you," the maidservant said angrily. "Oh, really? How come I didn't know that it's my honor to treat a direct descendant of the 8 divine domains to a meal? My status isn't that low, okay?" Lung Ruoxue mocked. Even if the Qi family's head came personally, she didn't have to treat him to a meal, let alone a direct descendant of the 8 great divine regions. "What do you mean by this? You dare to look down on my young master? You're really bold." When one of the maidservants heard Lung Ruoxue's words, she was so angry that she shouted, "That's right. Why don't you take a look at your status? If my young master is willing to eat with you, you should be snickering, yet you still dare to despise my young master. Oomph. Our Chi clan will never let you off. The other maidservant also roared. I really don't know who I am, but I'm sure that no matter how capable and powerful your young master is, he can't control me. Lung Ruashua said with a smile. The maidservant wanted to say something, but was interrupted. How dare you? I really spoiled you all. Who allowed you to be so rude to Miss Lung? At this moment, the Chi family's genius walked over with an apologetic expression. Young master, we just can't stand it. Your status and identity are the highest among all of us. How could they neglect you like this? The maidservant said, with an aggrieved expression after being lectured. This is a barren mountain. Let's just talk about friendship, what identity and status. Have you all forgotten what I told you before we left? The Chi clan genius asked unhappily. Young master, we were wrong. The two maidservants quickly admitted their mistake. Then hurry up and apologize to Miss Lung and the others. The Chi family genius ordered. I'm sorry. The two maidservants said unwillingly. It doesn't matter. I won't argue with two servants. Lung Ruashua said magnanimously. However, the word servant from her mouth infuriated the two snobbish, beautiful maidservants. Who are you calling a servant? We're not servants. We're young master's people. One of the beautiful maidservants shouted with some anger. Oh, since you're young Master Kai's people, then please take good care of your people. I won't be seeing you out. Lung Ruashua said lightly, and at the same time, asked him to leave. I'm sorry to disturb you. The Chi family genius suppressed his anger and said politely. Then he bowed slightly and left with his men. Over the next few days, under the restraint of the genius from the Chi family, no one dared to cause trouble for Lung Ruashua and the others. However, the subordinates and beautiful maidservants of the genius would often secretly glare at Lung Ruashua and the others with hatred. Master, we're being stared at again. Yu Qing complained in a low voice. Oh, I thought you'd already gotten used to it. Lung Ruashua chuckled. Miss, we've arrived at the snow mountain. At this moment, Ziyu, who was sitting on a little peacock's back, also pointed at the tall, snowy mountain. You're tuning into the Romance Rendezvous YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.